Okay. Mr. Davidson. You always wear a suit to the dentist?
Of course, man. This shit is serious. We're talking about my teeth here, my choppers, my pearly whites.
You nervous?
I'm not nervous. Are you nervous?
I'm not nervous.
Do I look nervous?
You got this, man.
Yeah, I got this. I'm nervous. Come on.
Fans, it's me, it's Aggro. It feels good to say that again. Harrison is out this week, unfortunately, but I'm back in the driver's seat. I'm hosting and game deving and making jokes that you guys don't like the entire time, basically. But of course, it's not just me here for the 9.5 Slipknot update show. We've got Clumsy and AJ that we'll bring in just a moment. But guys, this is we kind of messed around and had have a sneaky big patch all of a sudden. You know?
We do. Really big.
Like, it's not mid-season. It's not a new season. We're just going to change the whole game in one patch like that, huh?
Yeah. Remember when we were on patch notes last time? We were like, this thing is massive. Well, guess what? We're here again with another massive docket.
That's true.
Maybe even bigger than last time. That's right. We got a whole bunch of awesome stuff, including the new Slipknot event, the new Battlepass, community news, balance, of course. And let's start there, because the balance is hefty. Because we are adjusting literally every single god in Smite, all at once. We're calling it the TTK update, the time to kill update. So the overall, to pull back the curtain a little bit, we've heard the complaints and the discussion about the amount of damage in Smite. In the last few updates, we've been trying to address that. But clearly that has not hit the mark as we've hoped it would. So we've been working on this extra scenario kind of in the background for a little bit. And it's time to pull it out. We basically want to address dying in the early game from too much damage from all different sources, but also how it scales into the late game and what each role's responsibility is in the late game and what they can do and all that kind of stuff. And this has been in the works for a while. Got to give a quick shout out to our pros, Olympians, and Smite creators who gave their feedback on this. on this early pitch because there's been a lot of iteration on it already.
And it has been out for a while. We didn't just get this idea, even though you might have heard this similar notes from some other places around the MOBA scene.
The gamingverse, yeah. I mean, that's a good thing. It means that, while there might be similar issues, we're all kind of tackling them in a way that makes sense for our games.
And we previewed this to a group of influencers as well as the Olympians and the pros weeks ago. We got a lot of positive feedback on it, so we moved it into the fast lane to make sure we got it done. We did mention in the 9.4 update that we had some bigger changes. Really, this whole plan, the nerfing, the affecting of the whole game was going to be a process. We knew it wasn't going to happen over one update.
Right.
9.4 was essentially testing the waters, looking at the things that were most clearly overtuned, applying a lot of nerfs, and monitoring the results. We did see some results from that patch, but they felt a little small, right? People wanted to feel more. So we had this next plan in place in 9.5 that we're going to be revealing today, which you're going to feel a lot more. And then, of course, very importantly, 9.5 bonus and 9.6 are going to be fine-tuning because this is a very big change we're about to reveal today. It's obviously going to have a lot of big shifts all over the game in all different game modes. It's going to require some fine-tuning in future updates, and that's going to be a #1 priority for us on future updates.
Yeah, 100%. This is going to take some iteration because it's a bit of a spicy one. So let's get to it. We've been talking about what it is, but we haven't been had a chance to tell you what it is quite yet. Every single god in Smite, including your favorite god and your least favorite god, is having their base HP increased by 40%. Their base HP per level increased by 5%. Their physical protection increased by 40%. Base physical protection increased by 40%. And increased physical protection per level at base by 8%. Magical protection at base increased by 28% and 28% magical protection per level. So everyone, and I mean everyone, is tankier by a good amount.
Very true.
And you can feel it, for sure.
So our #1 goal with these updates was to make sure that this would be a change that all players would feel immediately. We wanted to make sure this is going to make an impact on all game modes, not just Conquest.
Yep.
We wanted to put an especially heavy balance towards the early game because we know that that is the most volatile part of the game. If you immediately start losing, you take an early death, that's very painful. So most of these buffs are applied to the early game. We did apply these by percentage, which has a couple of effects. One is it is going to actually give tanky gods a larger increase than squishy gods.
Yep.
But we wanted to preserve the differences between our classes. If we had added a flat number of HP to everyone, that would have merged the classes a little bit closer together. So we wanted to make sure the tanky gods still felt like the tankiest gods in the game and vice versa. We also shifted the numbers here a little bit with magical protections because those are so heavily front-loaded already.
Yep.
All gods in the game have a huge amount of magical protections at start and then gain a very small amount. So actually the way the numbers worked out, the 28 plus 28 is equivalent to 40 plus 8. We just shifted that so that it's not as heavily front-loaded at level 1. So that is a little bit of a shift. But there's a very long write-up by me in the patch notes that explains a lot of the process here, a lot of the thinking, why we did the numbers in this way. It's something that Clumsy has been running tests on with the dev team and the playtest team. We've had the pro players actually scrimming on it since Friday, which is very exciting. We'll talk a little bit more about that later.
Feedback there.
So a lot of information to be learned here, but what we're going to see is it's going to be much harder to lose the game in the first few minutes.
Yeah, it's going to be really important. I mean, we saw a lot of feedback based on the last one. We talked about having this kind of a two-step process, but even further on with the implications, of course. And one of the things that we did last time was hitting a lot of the late game power items. We wanted to gather feedback. We wanted to see kind of the severity of what we'd be needing in this next step. So right now, the time to kill early game, the first few levels, is going to be it's going to be pretty tough to kind of get ganks in whatever level, whatever lane it might be, and you probably won't be dying as you might do for the first set of abilities. But that's the goal. The goal is for the first set of abilities, the first kind of ganks that you receive, to probably not take you right out of the game.
Yeah, exactly, and it's all about the overall pacing of the game. I'm sure everyone hears every god gets tankier and thinks like, oh my god, it's tank meta instantly. Right. But the fact that the backliners are also getting proportionally tanky in response has really changed the entire dynamic of our playtests. I mean, the way that you can interact with a warrior who's built full damage, they don't threaten you as nearly as much anymore, and it lets you play a lot more aggressively as a backliner.
And also one of the last things is, this route, when we talked about it, for all the different ways we could accomplish the same thing, was kind of the one that was the most feasible, the one that hit everyone kind of in the same way, in the most fair way, right? Because another fan favorite approach is to kind of hit every single god in the game with damage nerfs across the board.
Right.
And that, while we considered it, you know, it wasn't off the table per se. It was something that was probably a little bit more open to subjectivity.
It's inconsistent.
It's inconsistent.
Right.
We can't hit everyone the same way. We probably shouldn't be able to hit every single god the same way. They don't always require the exact same damage nerf. Some gods have base abilities or scalings that are already extremely low. So if you hit that the same ratio as everyone else, then they just go to 0 damage for some components of an ability.
Right.
It just didn't quite make sense. This way, we accomplished the same thing, but kind of with the reverse. Instead of reducing everyone's damage, we're increasing their effective HP.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be huge. You guys will absolutely feel it. This is, in my opinion, the most different Smite has felt since boots got removed. Like, it is that
bigger
level.
than that.
I think it's bigger than that,
It's
too.
bigger than that.
You know,
it's the biggest change potentially to Smite balance in all
Ever.
of Smite history.
Yeah, mess around in a 9.5 patch, just make the biggest change to Smite's history. You know, that's just kind of what we're doing these days.
Yeah, it's very exciting. You know, it's something that we know the player base wants and is excited for. So, you know, we can't wait for people to try it out and let us know how it feels. Let's give them a little bit of an idea about what type of magnitudes of numbers we're looking at.
Yeah, great point. So at level 1, for some context, the minimum HP increase that you can have is 145. So the
squishiest gods
the squishiest gods in the game will get 145 extra HP. The tankiest gods in the game will have an extra 210 HP. Well, 209, but I'm rounding up a little bit.
No rounding.
Okay, no rounding. At level 20, the minimum buff, he's my boss now, so I have to respond quickly. At level 20, the minimum buff for the squishiest gods in the game, they'll have 202 extra HP, whereas the tankiest gods in the game, guardians and things like that, will have 304 HP after this change. Physical protections, level 1, minimum 3.5 or 4 physical protections, or up to 9.5 physical protections. And then at level 20, you can have up to 7.5 more, or 7.4, sorry, no rounding, physical protections, or 14.5 physical protections. And magical protections, all gods have the same. That's a little nugget of truth for you there, that all magical protections are the same for all gods. Though you will have 8.65 more magical protections at level 1 and 13.44 magical protections at level 20. So the big one is that you're going to feel, I think, is that HP, but also minions won't be dealing quite as much damage to you.
Right.
There's going to be a lot of different
There's
fall-offs
a
from
whole
this.
bunch of other stuff that's going to be shaking up the game too, not just this,
Yeah.
huh?
This update is really huge. To expand a little bit more on those numbers, we really wanted to tune this around making sure you can survive another direct hit from an ability, right? We have various abilities in Smite. They can do roughly, we think, 100 damage is a high damaging ability at level 1.
Yep.
When you account for some early starting power as well as some item procs and stuff like that, you get a little bit more. So that 145 health for the squishy gods felt really important to us because that's where you can make sure you can take another direct hit.
Yep.
If that jungler blinks on you in mid lane right away,
exactly.
you can take another direct whole ability to the face and not die. Now, depending on your skill level, this might seem like it's impossible to die at level 1 now, or it might seem like it's not enough. We've seen a lot of different feedback about that, so we're excited to see how it actually plays out with the whole player base. But all of these numbers were really focused on the level 1 and 2 and 3 experience and making sure that one small positional mistake wouldn't immediately get you killed. So you can take that extra ability. The extra protections also help that. We wanted to do health and protections to make sure that we kept the game relatively in balance proportionally from where it is now. Like if we just did health, then potentially other things that do % health damage or % healing would have been more impactful, but doing health and protections all together and all gods together at the percentage, again, we were really focusing on consistency. So a lot of those things all very closely connected. Ironically enough, it has created some really interesting scenarios where gods you think might be better are actually not that much better. Gods you think might be worse are way better. It's a lot of big shifts, but that's also what our pros really wanted. And from what we can tell from our players, that's also what people really wanted. Change the game up, make a lot of new gods better, and a lot of gods might be better, not so good. This really does that.
Yep, I don't think, like we said, the game has felt more different than it ever has, while still maintaining a lot of the same fun aspects. It feels like I have a million new things to try, and that's very exciting. So I'm excited for you guys to get a hands on it as well. And that's not all that we're doing, of course. We've got balance that we're going to go into a little bit more, but we also have a brand new conquest refresh here coming on in the map that we're going to be able to go into. The Knights Keep Conquest map is going to be what we're doing here in 9.5. We've got new map decorations, a new obelisk system, and a new siege engine That's right, all you siege
say
mains.
Siege?
You only got to get one more person, and then you can queue up for conquest, and you get some of that siege feeling. Or slash players, you know, you can kind of do it as is. Yeah, the Knights Keep conquest map, one of the most stunning map geometries I think that we've had in the duo lane in particular. I mean, this area and the new area in duo, absolutely awesome.
It's really cool. There's a big new castle art asset added to the outside of the duo lane that would have been that vista or cliff. Now you'll see a medieval style, Arthurian style castle there. Hint, hint. And what? The main focus of this is a really big conquest update. Let's just say season 9 was something we experimented with a lot of different mechanics, a lot of different balance changes, and we got a lot of feedback over the last coming months. We've already done a lot to tone down the snowball, but we are going to continue to do that more in this update. We are keeping the obelisk mechanic, but heavily reworking it at all stages for how you collect offerings, how you pick up offerings, what the rewards are, is all being changed. But that system is remaining in the map, but with a very different twist to it, a very different reward, and it's tuned for more clarity and for more clear and direct impact.
Yeah, I think that once we get a chance to go in game and show it to everybody, it's going to make they're going to be wowed first of all by the visuals of the map, we hope, but also kind of explaining this new obelisk mechanic and everything that we have going on. Because overall, I think that the obelisk mechanic as a whole has been very, very positive. It's kind of a new way to play the map and force different rotations and timings and a new objective to play around that doesn't just instantly give you a ton of golden experience like a Gold Fury would or a Pyromancer would, anything like that. So I think that in that way, you know, just finding new ways to expand upon that is very exciting as we are in game, Lermy driving us around to the new castle over here in the duo lane, Duo Kingdom.
Duo Kingdom.
Is what it's going to be happening.
That jungle camp out there at the castle camp.
The castle camp. I like that.
Got to go for castle camp.
Yep.
So, yeah, there was so many changes to this conquest map. You're going to want to check the patch notes for all of them. There's a lot of very specific changes to jungle camps and their values and their tankiness, their health, and their XP and gold. If you find that a little bit difficult to read, just check the dev notes for the main summaries. You know, and of course here today we're going to try to give you the main summaries. So first off, this beautiful new castle. Shout out to the environment team for doing a great job here. We wanted just a very new focal point to this lane to give it a new and unique look. So you can see that here. It's gorgeous. The next thing I want to talk about is the obelisk. So we do have a completely new system for how you're going to unlock and collect those offerings.
And the obelisk itself is themed now. It's going to be different.
Oh,
it's
so
also
it
an
is.
Arthurian obelisk, right?
Yeah,
so
it has
the
to be.
Hindu obelisks have been replaced with the Arthurian obelisk. When the obelisk activates, which is now going to activate later at 6 minutes instead of 4, again to kind of prevent some snowball, it's not going to mark jungle camps anymore. Instead, it's going to spawn mist camps.
Oh,
so you
bring
can
back
use
the
these to
mist.
stealth yourself like you could in the winter conquest.
Very nice.
And within the mist camps are going to be these lost knights, these ghost knights. You can destroy these to get your offerings. This is the only source of offerings outside of stealing from your opponents. So when all the mist camps spawn, you can see they're marked by the little chalice icon on the mini-map. You can pick these up to fill up your obelisk, or you can lurk and hide and wait in there and see if someone else will come to try to steal them and you can ambush them from the stealth.
I've been hiding in the mist and playtesting.
Yeah,
I love it.
We can see some safe ones. We can see some contestable ones, right by the castle camp. I think we saw a mist camp over there.
Yep.
Yeah. So again, clarity and simplicity. We're keeping the loop similar, but making it a little more focused. So only offerings will drop from mist camps. All of the mist camps will spawn in the same place at the same time every time the obelisks activate. They will have their own unique respawn timers, which I believe is 60 seconds, but correct me if I'm wrong. There's too many numbers for me to remember all of them. I'm even cheating with my phone here, trying to make sure I have most of them correct. But you'll collect the offerings from there. When you fill up your obelisk, you're going to get a completely new reward as well. We found the scepter was pretty interesting, but it was difficult to apply. It had a lot of complicated follow-up actions that required. Now, when you complete your obelisk, you're going to get a trebuchet siege engine that will spawn on your side of the battleground.
Very cool.
It's going to stay in your Phoenix until someone on your team walks up to it to activate it, and then it's going to push the lane that it's in. It's going to also spawn in the lane that has the most healthy towers in it.
Yeah, I think that knowing exactly where, it's very easy and very clear to see which lane it's going to go to. It's just, we got it, what enemy tower is the which lane has the healthiest tower.
There you
And
go, right there. We can see that the obelisk filled up, and a new mini-map icon shows up on the dual side Phoenix here.
Yep, so Lermy goes back to base. It won't start until you give it a little shove, but you don't, as we all know, these escort quests in games are the worst when you have to stand next to it forever, when they're so slow. So all you've got to do is tap a toe inside of it.
It's got some little guard minions with it too.
They can do the escorting, you know?
So
I'm a god. I've got
Shout out
stuff to
the
go and
classic
do.
Joust medieval minions.
Yep.
Coming back. So this trebuchet also has a very unique type of combat that we don't usually see in our Siege Juggernauts. So this trebuchet has very specifically only a long-range attack. It cannot defend itself at short range. It won't hit things too close to it, but it will be able to lob fireballs and hit enemy structures and minions, and it can hit enemy structures from outside of the tower radius.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is a particularly powerful push tool. It starts a little weak in the early game with a little bit of a low HP pool, but that HP pool will scale up into the late game, and it makes for a very powerful way, a completely new way to siege the towers, where you kind of create this front line of gods that can stand outside the enemy tower range, but between the trebuchet here, like in that narrow space,
right now. Wow.
and they can defend the trebuchet without actually setting foot in tower range. And you can see it did a pretty nice chunk of damage to that tower.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
I mean, yeah, it just keeps going. It does take a little bit of damage each time it fires so that it can't just push
very
forever.
good to bring that up.
But I think that the big thing that there is a little bit of a learning curve around this objective, but in a very fun way. Like if your team doesn't want to group up and push with it, fine. You can just push it along and it'll do its thing, and it can get a couple tower shots in and everyone's happy. But when you're playing as a coordinated group, you're playing with your friends, hey guys, we've got the trebuchet, let's come take this tower. It has felt very, very impactful in those moments when 4 people show up in my solo lane with a trebuchet and I'm like, hello, I'm gonna lose my tower.
It's an objective just like anything else in Smite, so
Yep.
you have so many different ways to play it, right? You can have one person defend it, but then if you get out-rotated on, it encourages a lot of interesting early game rotations you might not see, like 4 people showing up in the solo lane unexpectedly, which is exciting.
Lermy.
If you completely leave it alone, though, it can be pretty easy to just go counter kill. Jungler can swing by and just shred this thing up in a minute, right?
Yep.
Or a second.
Few
not
seconds,
even.
yeah.
A few seconds. So it is something like that you have to play to, or you can ignore it. It is really up to you how you want to fight and play into it.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of different applications that players are going to have to learn how to use, but that's exciting. That's what you play MOBAs for, is to try and
What
learn.
we like about this of the Obelisk is offerings much more clear, always from the same sources, always in the same locations, and reward much more clear. It's a big objective on the map that's doing a thing, as opposed to a more high skill oriented individual player buff.
And worth noting that these trebuchets, like we said, don't start until you touch it, and they will stay at your Phoenix line as long as you'd like. Right. So if you want to stack up some trebuchets in multiple lanes or in the same lane,
use them as a defensive tool.
You can use them as a defensive tool. You can use them to the mid game. We want to go to Fire Giant. Let's shove 2 trebuchets at the same time, and then it becomes very difficult to defend against. So it's really cool. Definitely a new dynamic to the Conquest map, but one that I'm excited to see players get their hands on.
Now, before we go into just the large amount of balance across this whole map, have to mention that we obviously had to take the time to kill adjustments into factor with a lot of our changes on the map.
Yep.
So in order to do that, we really have 2 big passes across the map. One is we're doing a lot of changes to the XP and gold sources. The things we're doing in that way, first of all, is we're fine-tuning a lot of them. So we're making more individual harpies. So here you can see the green buff has been changed to green harpy trio camp. We're going to be adjusting individually the camps across the map. So jungle camps, red to purple to green to blue to speed, do not have to share the same total XP or gold values anymore. Also, we made more different types of harpy and more different colors of harpy, so we can be more fine-tuned with how much experience is in different places. You see that mid here now has 3 blue harpies on each side.
Yep.
So there's just a lot of shifting going on here. I don't want to say that this means that this camp is like directly worth more or less than it did before, because it's a little complicated. But what I will say is that generally, a lot of these camps are worth a little bit more, but the contestable ones are respawning less often. That's another thing to focus fights towards more specific times and to prevent snowball. And then everything in the jungle has generally gotten tankier,
Yes.
so it's a little bit slower to clear. That's another key goal for the Conquest, just bring the pacing down a little bit, but not too much. And everything in the jungle hits really hard back.
Very hard.
Because everyone's getting so tanky, and we wanted jungle camps to be a little bit more scary, we had to really buff this hard.
Yep.
So jungle camps hit hard. Jungle bosses also hit hard.
Yes. Yeah, jungle bosses
There's so
especially.
many specifics in here to go through. I don't even know how we're going to rattle them all off.
Yeah, I think that for the most part, that's kind of the thing you just need to know is that mages beware of red. Whoever's playing mid, beware of red.
Beware of taking Gold Fury.
Yep.
We also did a few things where now Gold Fury, Fire Giant, and Pyromancer, their offhand abilities will deal magic damage, while their basics still deal physical. So you'll need to
Change
tank
your
up
itemization.
in both ways against those.
Very
Also, potentially one of the most important changes on the map. Minions are now going to be tankier as well. So you're going to be spending more time in lane. It's going to take a little longer to clear those minions. That could potentially have really big effects on which gods become viable, how junglers plan their paths, which contestable objectives you go for. So we really just wanted to, outside of the time to kill changes, which were for everyone, we also wanted to create a lot of really meaningful and impactful shifts to the Conquest game mode to make sure that we really took the feedback of 9.4. Yeah, this is a lot of stuff, but it doesn't really feel different.
Right.
We took that personally.
You're going to be feeling it now.
And we took that
And we woke up. No more sleeping. And we changed a lot of stuff on
Real
this
stuff, you know what I mean.
you can't say all the mean words. On
Yeah,
this.
the red eyes and all. Look, I mean, I think that the way that it's felt to me and the way that I've heard it described by the pros who have been scrimming on and all that kind of stuff is that it feels like the early game and the mid game just last longer. It takes a little bit longer to get to late game.
Right.
Late game, you're still doing damage. You're still taking damage.
It was very important to us that we slow things down, but not overly much.
Yep.
And that we slow them down more in the early game, but not in the late game.
Yep. More laning phase, a little bit more laning phase, a little bit longer to clear your wave, but not so much that you can't go do other things, not so much that you're sitting there having to last hit all your creeps for the first 6 levels of the game. It's still all about fighting, all about being active, just slowing you down a little bit. Is the name of the game.
We're so excited about this. We're struggling to make sure we keep our language PG-13, which will be difficult for the Slipknot lyrics as well. But
True.
They're the real deal. The last very most exciting.
Okay,
change,
I was saying we still have one more thing right here.
Very exciting change still in the Conquest map and all maps is that towers are getting significantly scarier. They're getting big HP buffs in the Conquest map, especially the Titan getting a huge amount of additional HP, as well as more HP it gets from each structure on the map. Also, all towers are being increased their base damage by a significant amount, and all towers and phoenixes are now going to have 30% penetration built into their shots. These towers hit a lot harder. We had to be careful again because we made everyone tankier. So we buffed towers a little bit, then potentially it's still easier to tower dive than it was last patch.
Right.
So we had to really go hard to make sure that these towers are very scary.
So can we confirm that towers with this patch are going to be scarier than they were before, even with the TTK changes in mind?
Oh, yes.
Except maybe for very early game, very tanky.
Right.
You might be able to essentially tank a similar number of total tower shots like in a tier 1, but it's going to ramp up, and that's going to be with the penetration. That's going to start to factor in a lot more. And throughout the game, it's going to matter a lot more. You're going to take a lot more. Squishies are going to take a lot more damage from towers. This will be much harder for assassins to early game tower dive.
Yeah.
And you have more HP as the the mage or whatever hunter being dove.
Right.
So it will be harder to dive you in that sense as well.
I mean, I'll tell you, we did a play test with a lot of the esports gang, and the towers killed me way more than Mifflin did.
Yeah, okay.
It was.
I remember one of the first play tests. I got 3-man dove in mid, and I was just running in circles, yelling to myself, "Towers are scary now! Towers are scary now!"
And they
just
all
watching
die.
these opponents just drop. I think they did get me, but it was like a 3-for-1.
Yeah, it is insane how much
they were
damage
taking
they
so
do.
much damage from the tower, and they were
Yep.
standing there so long, and they were like they were not realizing
They
how
weren't
much
giving it the
they
respect
weren't
it
respecting
needs.
it yet because
Yep.
it's new. So shout out to you players out there watching the show. You're going to have your homework done. You'll be ahead of the curve. Be careful with those towers. And this is going to be
Yes.
applied not just to Conquest, but all Smite game modes. So
Yep.
Joust towers, Slash towers, Assault towers, all getting scarier.
But it is mostly against gods with that penetration increase. So your minions, you can still siege in the later stages. It's going to be harder if you start to tank the Phoenix, but it doesn't like insta-kill your
We
wave
actually
in
do
one
have
shot.
individual unique damage values for towers on damage to minions versus damage to gods, and that's
Right.
all specified in patch notes. So that was
It's all
adjusted a
there.
little bit because minions were adjusted as well, but the god damage was increased much more.
Yeah, definitely much more against gods. Okay, let's get into some actual balanced numbers, shall we? Specifically, at the very front end here, all about some of these hybrid itemization. Yo Dog, we heard you don't like when hybrid itemization kills you. And so I'm about to rattle off like 15 different power
I
nerfs.
thought you were going to wrap this list up.
No, I sure am not. No. That definitely not in practice enough for that. You know what, Jethans, actually, let's just bring it over here. I don't need these guys. We're just gonna power through these as fast as humanly possible. Here we go. Tower Shield, that's a tier 2 of Void Shield, or of shifters and all that kind of stuff. Decrease from 20 to 15. Hope your fingers are fast, by the way, Jethans. Berserkers, decrease power from 25 to 20 and decrease physical protection from 50 to 40. Shifters, decrease power from 30 to 25 and decreased power on the passive from 30 to 25. Glad Shield, decreased power from 25 to 20. Void Shield, decreased physical protections from 45 to 35. Runic Shield, decreased physical power from 35 to 30. Ancile, 40 to 35 on the physical power. Catecheias Shield, decreased physical power from 25 to 20. Frostbound Hammer, shout out to Lermy, decreased physical power from 35 to 25. Rudenforged Hammer, decreased physical power from 35 to 30. The Sledge, decreased physical power from 40 to 35. Blackthorn Hammer, decreased physical power from 30 to 25. Celestial Legion Helm, decreased magical power from 70 to 55. Lotus Crown, decreased physical protections from 60 to 50. Jade Emperor's Crown, decreased magical power from 40 to 30, and decreased health from 350 to 300. Then we've got Tyrannical Plate Helm, decreased magical power from 85 to 70. Voidstone, decreased health from 250 to 200. Decreased magical protection from 60 to 50. Stone of Fall, decreased health from 200 to 150. Stone of Binding, decreased magical power from 30 to 25. Physical protection from 35 to 30. And decreased magical protection from 35 to 30. And that brings us to some tier 2s that are getting some buffs. It's Spell Focus and it's Warrior's Bane. Recently removed this percent penetration, but after some feedback from some high-level players in particular, the power spike difference between tier 2 of one of these pen items and tier 3 was just too much. So both Spell Focus and Warrior's Bane, that's the tier 2 of Obsidian Shard and Titan's Bane respectively, are getting 5% penetration back respectively.
Yeah, especially for the cost of those items for the tier 2, you were going from the 10 to 0, especially with the TTK changes. It felt like
That's
there's a
what I
lot of
wanted to add.
it's a combination that
It's
felt
very
pretty bad.
important to add with the time to kill changes. So 9.4 bonus did not have the time to kill changes, so the percent
Right.
pen felt okay to remove. But with everyone getting tankier, we wanted to bring some of that percent pen back. That time to kill changes also were an important factor in nerfing the hybrid items. We had heavily considered nerfing the hybrid items even before the time to kill changes, but with the idea that everyone can be tankier for free,
Right.
that opens up an ability to build more hybrid items or even more power items on tanks.
Right.
So we wanted to be really careful that we did not create essentially all 5 roles playing any class as a hybrid build class where they're pretty tanky and doing pretty good damage all at the same time. So we did feel like it was very important to nerf that. So if you want to be really tanky in 9.5, you really can build into those full tank items plus the time to kill buffs.
Yep.
But if you still want to build, if you still want to shred people late, you build those percent pen items, those percent health items. Kins and Soul Reaver and potentially even crit and high penetration builds stock's gonna go way up, right?
Yep. Stonks, absolutely, for Soul Reaver and Chin Size in
We just
particular.
can't stop memeing today.
Heartseeker. Well, I am hosting the show. Like you knew, you guys knew what you were
Good to
signing
have
up
you
for.
back.
Good to be back. Okay, let's head into gods. As a reminder, by the way, this is live on Tuesday, May 16th.
Oh, that's exciting.
That is,
Right away.
it is not very
PTS
far
this
away.
Weekend, live launch next week.
Going to be a
This is
busy
scheduled.
weekend and everything for Smite fans. PTS is going to be big. Okay, let's get into gods then, shall we? Let's start with Loki. This is more of an adjustment to Loki. His laugh has been removed as an audio cue on Vanish. That's his stealth.
Right.
Due to its inconsistency in volume and duration between skins. This ability will now have a single audio cue sound effect that shares a volume and distance modifier across all Loki skins, but with some slight adjustments depending on the theme of the skin. So just all about consistency. This is what Loki sounds like when he goes stealth.
Very important. You know, we've been seeing a lot of the Loki mains really analyzing every skin. So we had a lot of fantastic audio engineering work done in this update, which I will get to later, but this was just another quality of life thing that Kellen and his amazing audio team did, and thank you very much for them getting that done. Hopefully Loki mains feel good about this. We want this audio cue to be very audible, right? It's very important to hear, so it's going to be, still pretty present, but it will be much more consistent now between skins.
Yep, definitely looking forward to feedback on that. Let's go to Serket, who's getting a buff. Her basic attacks, this one's a little bit exciting.
Yeah.
Her basic attacks, the third basic attack in her attack chain will now cleave, so this should help her jungle clear pretty significantly. She's also getting a buff to Cobra's Kiss, decrease the cooldown, that's her 2, from 16 to 14, And on last breath, decreased pre-fire animation time from 0.2 seconds to 0.1 seconds. So hopefully you'll have a little bit less of that situation where you latch onto a god as they try and leap away and you like half play the animation and then it doesn't take your cooldown and they still jump. Reducing this and really cutting it in half, even though it's already a short time, should account a little bit more for some of those server latency sort of situations that can cause some disagreements.
That cleave is huge though, which is
Yeah.
going to make sure she can clear better, which is going to be really important for her. I feel like with 9.5 and all the early testing, we're already like so far past this, but there was a lot of discussion about how diminishing returns affect various characters. It's
true.
We are going to talk about a couple different gods on that. It feels
Yeah.
like an eternity ago, right?
It really
a few weeks
does.
ago.
Yep.
Serket was one of the gods most indirectly nerfed by 9.4.
Yep.
She didn't have any direct nerfs. She was reworked to the patch before, rebalanced the patch before. But she fell even harder from a lot of those 9.4 changes, so we did want to make sure we got some meaningful buffs for her on this update. The gods on this update are also difficult to discuss in terms of how they worked pre-9.4, in
Right.
9.4, and now again in 9.5.
Yeah.
So we did keep the balance this update to gods a little lighter. We focused on a couple gods that we feel like have been struggling for a longer term.
Yep.
And we're going to go over a few buffs now, but there are some additional nerfs to gods as well for some that you felt like we nerfed in the bonus but didn't quite get far enough on, so there are a few of those.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, let's head off to Thor then. He's getting a buff as well as a recipient of some changes on that DR change.
Right.
Increase the stun on the wall from 1. It was 1 to 1.6. Now it's going to be 1.2 to 1.6. So still ending in the same spot late game, but as this is the last ability you max, getting a little bit more CC in there just to make sure that he's not as indirectly affected by those DR changes as he was before. And then increase the base damage of Anvil of Dawn, which is his ultimate. This is the landing damage. It was 100 to 300, now goes 100 to 360. So a nice little base damage buff on his ultimate.
Specifically aiming more towards the late game on the base damage of the ulti, and then playing up on that early game with the DR changes on the stun.
Yep.
One thing we did want to add with Thor and DR is that we know there was a couple gods that were listed out as being maybe specifically hurt by DR more than others.
Yep.
We wanted to be very careful with those changes, though. We didn't want to just go and buff all their CCs right away.
Right.
Especially since we saw Iset and Horus actually specifically get much better in that patch, even though many people thought they were hurt because of the DR changes. But their win rate stats did go up. Thor was affected, though, as was Serket. So those were buffed. And we're testing this here with Thor, and we think it's a better plan to adjust these duration numbers as opposed to making more immune to DR
Right.
type of CCs,
Like
because
the
that can
Bracken.
get difficult to track already. There are a few in the game, and generally the ones that are immune to DR are like that for a very specific reason.
Right.
Thor's is just a ranged stun. That doesn't really have a specific reason to be DR free. So this is the method we choose for that, and we will continue to look at those gods in the future. Although with all this stuff in this update, the players might forget about it, but we are going to keep track of it.
And exactly, we want to be a little bit specific about it too, where you didn't just buff it across the board, right? We wanted to hit its problem spots, which is the low duration stun, specifically in the early ranks, right?
Right.
So we're going to keep those things all in mind as DR kind of plays itself
CC
out.
as a whole is still generally nerfed in the game. So
Yes.
we wanted to just not just undo that right away by buffing a bunch
Exactly.
of individual god CCs, but specific gods who need it and be very specific about how we do it.
Great. On to Gibelanke. He's getting a buff to his 3, Rising Jaguar, increased poison bonus damage from 30% to 40%. We're getting closer and closer, guys, to the
original.
when I started playing.
I loved X-Ball on launch.
Open
I
beta
thought
when
this
you
was
could
a
just
fun
2-3 someone and like do 60% of their health.
He was what got me into the Hunter class. I
Yep.
didn't play any Hunters really until X-Ball came out. I was mostly a tank and mage main. But X-Ball was my first Hunter that I loved, and this
He's so
ability,
fun.
it used to deal 50% bonus. So this
That's
is a
good
true
context.
multiplier, 1.5x
Yep.
the total base and scaling damage from this ability. We are buffing this back up to 40. We think that's going to be a sweet spot. This makes for a really fun risk-reward. Like
Yeah.
you can really get aggressive when you're boxing. You
Yep.
can try to juke some abilities while hitting with a really strong burst ability and close the gap and just finish people up. But then you're going to be without your dash.
It is-
without your CC immune dash, so it is risky.
It is very risky, but you will feel this buff. We've been playtesting a little bit.
Yeah.
It is definitely
lot of fun,
noticeable.
I think.
Yep. Okay, on to Rama, another hunter. Decreased the mana on infinite arrows from 60 to 80 to 40 to 60, and increased attack speed from 30% to 50% to 40% to 60%. So that's on his 2, the attack speed stim. And then rolling assault decreased mana from 70 to 90 to 50 to 70. So Ram, one of those gods that we hear, we got a little bit of a passive rework a little bit ago in order to address some of his mana concerns. Still, certainly better in that department, but still needed a little bit of help as a god that doesn't want to build Transcendence. And I think that these mana costs and a little bit of extra attack speed will also help him a lot.
Funny enough, we were seeing very little Rama at the time we
Yep.
slated these buffs, but then I think in the most recent SPL we did see a little bit of Rama.
Yeah.
coming
Isn't that
back.
always how it goes?
I know, right? We hadn't seen a single
Do you
Rama
think we
pick
have
in
a
like
Do you think
8
we have
months.
a spy? Do you think we have a leak somewhere, AJ, that they're like, hey,
Well, we
we're
do
gonna buff
give
this
the- I
god?
mean, we do give some early feedback from.
I
the
know, but
process,
it's uncanny. We're about to buff a god, and then all of a sudden they're
Literally
like
never been
100% pick ban,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you're like, what? Like
Well,
this doesn't make any
good
sense.
Good news is Rama's changes are a little bit more quality of life focused, a little
Right.
bit more light. So we do expect Rama to gain a lot of value in these upcoming updates.
You looked a little nervous there, Clumsy. Are you the mole? Are you the one?
I do be leaking Smite cards all the time, right?
All right, let's go on to Naja then. Naja on the passive, increase the time before losing passive stacks from 10 seconds to 12 seconds, so you should have that more. We also are very aware of the problems with Naja passive, and they should be
That's
addressed in this
the
update.
patch notes.
Okay, great.
In these patch notes.
In these patch notes. So yes, we are, I know that as soon as I brought up Naja passive, I could hear the alarm bells going off on Twitch chat
What
already.
about the bug? Rama got a bug fix too, I think. That was pretty nice.
Nice. And then Windfire Wheels, increased protections gained after landing from 20 to 40 to 30 to 50. So Naja a little bit more survivable, both with the ultimate and with the fact that you're going from camp to camp. You can keep your passive up a little bit more, and that just feels good in general, but then also means that you get a bigger heal whenever you activate the 2. So that should be pretty solid for Naja.
Longer clear times in this update is going to
Yep.
help with that passive, as well as everyone's going to be a little tanky, so just one-shotting people is going to be harder, which
Yep.
is one of Naja's specialties here.
Sure.
So we wanted to make sure he had a better ability to follow up fight. So that bonus protections lets him hit his ult on someone, and then when he lands, he can actually continue fighting, which is
Right.
great, especially if his team has moved in position well after that person lands, right? So
Yeah.
you can actually follow up instead of just, hey, I'm just going to get this person out of the game and then we're both gone, which is, I think, a less fun way to play
Yeah,
Naja. I don't
very
know, you're the Naja man.
No, I felt the same way, but I
Okay.
mean.
Yeah, Naja's kind of sick this patch, huh? I don't think I play tested him at all. That sounds fun. I want to play some Naja on PTS this week. Hercules getting a buff, decrease the cooldown on Earthbreaker. That's his 2. It goes from 14 seconds to it was 14 seconds flat. Now it's going to scale down as you put more points in it. So by the time you max it, it'll now be 12 seconds, just giving him a little bit more opportunity to start fights in the late game. But we've seen what he can do when he can start fights at will in the early game. So didn't want to go that direction.
Exactly.
Yep.
Okay, well said.
Terra getting a buff, Force of Nature, that's the dash, decreased cooldown from 15 seconds to 13 seconds, and decreased the mana cost on Monolith. It was 60 to 100, now going to be 60 to
That's
80.
high.
Yep, that was a very high mana cost.
So
ability.
Terra, we were seeing a good bit of in the Pro League, but we did that, fix/intended change to remove her ability to double proc her items.
Right.
Really, her abilities were designed with the idea of you either consume them via the Shatter or via their regular effect, not both. So we did remove that. That did take a little dip for her. So we're going to look at bringing her back.
Yep. Another Guardian up next, Sylvanas, Nature's Bounty, that's his passive. Increased cooldown reduction provided by picking up seeds from 0.25 seconds to 0.5 seconds. This does upgrade later on in the game to a full second, I believe.
exactly.
And that is unchanged. So this is really just aimed at the early game.
Yeah, because we were looking at this, it's like, 0.25 to 0.5, it's doubling, it seems like it's a lot more.
It is a lot.
It's a lot more efficient, it's very strong, but it's already going to that 1 second later on, so this will just be almost like a quality of life and a fun cooldown buff across the board. For
It feels
Sylvanas.
good to use. I played him in a playtest. It was nice.
Yep, pick up the seeds. Baba Yaga getting a buff. Baba's Brew, that's the 2. Decreased cooldown from 14 seconds to 12 seconds at all ranks. So you get to toss a few more potions in the middle of the game, which is what I love to do as Baba. So I'm excited about that one. And then Pele also getting a buff. Pyroclast, that is the 1. Increase the physical power scaling from 60% to 70%. And that is only on the throw out of Pyroclast, not the little return shots or anything like that. But
Good point.
play more Pele. Pele's cool. I want to see more Pele in all my games.
With a little bit of
In all-
tankiness, she might get better with ability to self-sustain and really live that low health life
true.
threshold and really stay
And
alive.
she-
She might get better.
You are not barely dead when Pele kills you. Like, she overkills by a lot the vast
kinds
majority
of
of the time.
characters
And
are
those
really
gods are the ones that are that don't get affected by these changes quite as much. The ones that barely kill you probably aren't killing you anymore.
Yeah,
but
true.
the ones that they had damage to spare.
That means Execute's gotten better. But
Execute,
true.
yeah,
Yeah.
Execute's definitely got better.
I mean, lots of stuff.
Wait, Liberty won a Now Kwang buff. There it is. We just did it.
There you go. We already done. That's what he does.
That wish granted.
ESET getting a nerf, as AJ mentioned, even after the DR changes, ESET actually saw a win rate increase, so getting a nerf here on Dispel Magic. Also, of course, her pro viability and how prevalent she's been there. Decrease the magical protection debuff. It was 10 scaling up to 30% in max rank. It'll now be 10 scaling to 20% at max rank. And this will certainly affect ESET mid, but does affect ESET support a little bit more.
Absolutely.
True.
But-
But it's a big utility effect there that just felt a little too strong for a god that kept performing well, although maybe not the most community perceived strong god, very high pro play priority.
And also, I think it's also going to be important for the dev team to keep an eye on all these things that do a percentage of the things that we've just increased, right?
Yep.
Anything that has
Good point.
percent health, percent protections have already just gained in value with the changes that have come in mind. So
Yep.
ESET's probably not the first nerf you're going to see in this direction in the future.
Yeah.
Dispel Magic, definitely sneaky, one of the best abilities in the entire game.
Right.
Like non-ultimate abilities, Dispel Magic is probably top 10. Absolutely insane ability.
Guess who's on the list?
It's Gilgamesh. It wouldn't be a patch without a Gilgamesh nerf. Am I right, everybody? Dropkick, decreased physical power scaling of kick damage from 40% to 30%, and also decrease the power scaling of burst damage from 40% to 30%. So if you kick someone and they don't hit into a wall, it's only a 10% nerf. When you kick someone into a wall, you will have lost 20% scaling after this change, as well as Heroes Advanced decreased movement speed. It was 25 scaling up to 35%. It is now just going to be a 25% increase to your allies running towards the Heroes
And that's the
Advanced.
big one. There was a huge amount of utility coming from that. Regardless of where you
Yep.
played Gilgamesh, that ability was giving your whole team a sprint relic nearly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Still is almost, so that needed to come down.
And we've seen that movement speed, utility effects for allies, although it may not be always as noticeable. If it's something like sprint, you're going to get in a big burst, but if it's something that's just playing all the time, it may
Right.
not be as noticeable. Those actually have really big changes on win rates for gods.
Yep.
Very impactful.
Absolutely. Okay, Ardeo up next, another pro-focus god here. Decompose, that's the passive. Decreased max stacks from 8 to 6. And Energy Surge, that is the Druid form 1. Increased cooldown of both forms, and Maul Prey, so it's both. Increased the cooldown, it was 12 seconds. It is now 15 scaling down to 13. So a massive nerf there to Ardeo 1.
Big nerfs.
And decrease the damage of Maul Prey, that's the bear swipes. It was 40 to 160, it does hit twice. It is now 35 to 155. So little bit of a damage nerf though, because it's doubled, it's a little bit bigger than it looks, but definitely a very big nerf to Ardeo's laning phase in particular.
This goddess brings a lot of utility.
Yep.
So that those max stacks on the passive is actually going to decrease the amount of protection shred she applies. That's what those do. But bringing the damage and her core damaging ability down so she can really focus on, she can still be very impactful in a team fight with all the utility and CC she brings. So letting her shine in that regard, bringing the damage down. Also, she's just been a force in the solo lane for like a year now, even through more nerfs. So
Yep.
we think with this nerf and all of the other shifts in the game that we'll probably see her a little less now. Hopefully, finally, maybe.
Probably, yeah, we'll see. It's one of those like, we buffed her and she's already been nerfed past the point of where she was before
Yeah.
she got buffed, and she's still
the meta does that
dominant.
to you sometimes.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know?
And
They get sticky.
And I'm sure a lot of this is in the dev notes. A lot of this is going to be things that people are going to papercraft and see in game. But a lot of these changes are going to be kind of amplified with the other things that are happening, right? With
Right.
CTK changes, with the Jade Emperors and Celestial nerfs, and all the different hybridization nerfs. Guardians as well will just probably won't be as effective in the solo lane anymore. They don't
Right.
have the in-hand
Well, their
power that
damage is
warriors
less
do.
important, too.
Exactly.
Right.
And
It's all
the
about their
minions
utility.
being tankier. It's going to be harder for them to clear lane in solo lane.
Yeah, definitely a little bit harder. We'll see what actually ends up happening in the solo lane meta overall. And speaking of the solo lane meta at a high level, especially Kleedna getting a nerf. Tear the Veil, that's the ultimate. Increased cooldown from 50 seconds to 60 seconds per charge. And decrease base rift damage from 80 to 240. That's what it was. It is now going to be 60 to 200. And that also ends up being pretty impactful because the damage reduction you get from getting hit by multiple stacks of that, and that applies to gods, minions, jungle bosses, all that kind of stuff. Lowering that top end amount actually ends up making this ability do a lot less damage to things like objectives.
And that the cooldown is per charge, so that ends up being almost a 20-second cooldown
Yep.
nerf. And that rift damage is often what people get hit by. Because
Yes.
you don't always get hit by the burst. But
Right.
if you walk through it at all, you will take generally the first hit of the rift, which is still a pretty big hit. So bringing that down considerably, and then that's also going to bring down all subsequent hits. So
Yep.
again, pretty big nerf for her. We, she still might need more, but we noticed that from the bonus, people felt like she still needed another one, and we agreed.
It also helps her hit her PvE, like laning or
Yep.
on jungle bosses and other stuff like that. It's going to hit her in a few different ways, which I think is going to be pretty important for hopefully getting her off the nerf list next time.
Yeah, speaking of getting them off the nerf list,
Oh, no.
guys, I joined the design team in like February. You know how many patches we've had since then? This is the third one, right? This is the third one.
Zeus nerfs have we had?
This is the third Zeus nerf, not even including bonus nerfs.
Oh.
Well, the god is really good.
Guys!
And the god is going to be really good in this patch too because of his sustained
Yeah,
damage.
but he's Zeus. He's whatever, man. Chain lightning. It was 10 seconds. Now it's 12.
Totally unbiased.
Totally unbiased. Aegis assault decreased movement speed. It was 20 to 30%. Now it is 15 to 25%, so 5% on each end. And decreased attack speed, it was 20 to 40%. It is now 15 to 35%, so 5% there.
So that cooldown is going to bring down a lot of his total damage, his burst combo, and then that utility also. You know, we're really glad we gave it to him. A lot of times we try to be careful with removing the thing we just gave you.
Right, exactly.
But after he already got some other burst nerfs and still needed some more, it was time to adjust this. And,
He's
adjust
good.
this.
He deserves it.
I think
It's
he's
fine.
going to be in a good
It's
spot
fine.
after this.
He's going to be
We won't
fine.
have to touch
And
him.
here's the real kicker that these guys might not have realized. Aegis Assault and Chain Lightning used to each be 10 seconds.
Right.
We nerfed Aegis Assault to 12. And now we're setting Chain Lightning to 12, so they'll be on the same cooldown again. It'll feel good.
Right. It will feel good as long
a
as
good way of
you're
thinking about
blowing
it.
people up a little less often.
But the fact that it doesn't start until cooldown until you get it back, it's fine. Zeus is going to be fine.
Zeus is probably one of the gods that contributes to many complaints of
I
initial
know.
game burst damage,
I
especially
know.
in non-conquest modes, right?
But
So-
guys, every time I like on Twitter and on if I stream or something like that, everyone's like, "Aggro, you're supposed to represent all of us Zeus mains. Like you're messing up." I feel like I'm letting my people down a little bit.
you
You
are
know?
unbiased in the balance meeting. So
Josie's aggro's doing a great
Kudos
job.
Cool.
to you on
yeah.
that.
All right. Yeah, we'll go with that. That's fine right there.
Appreciate it.
All
And
right.
that's all
Does
the
it.
balance.
That's all a balance. Just that's it. You know. And also the fact that every god got 40% tankier at level 1 and 8% tankier
yeah,
as
that
the game
little
goes
thing.
on. And yeah, that whole thing. If you feel like your god didn't get changed, just remember that they did alongside every other
they got
god
an HP buff.
in the whole game. That's right. That brings us to maybe my favorite thing we're going to show
I'm
off today.
so excited for this.
This is
Yeah,
going to be awesome.
We ended up something like, hey, all this crazy awesome stuff. This is some crazy
This
awesome
is the
stuff
biggest.
coming
This
up.
is one of the
Oh
biggest
my
Smite
gosh.
updates ever, honestly.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. We've got a nice little video to give you a preview of what we're about to talk about.
Yeah, sorry, I did.
To battle! Come into the light!
Attack the Minotaur. I'm on it.
That's right, baby.
Yeah, I mean, that was amazing video. First of all, shout out to Hirez Whiskey Worm.
That's right.
The perfect person for that assignment.
Literally
So
born to do it.
beats new. All of the gods, the classic gods, fighting off their new remodeled selves. But the closed beta conquest map is returning to Smite, which a lot of our
So
players
cool.
have never played.
It's so fun,
I myself,
guys.
as a closed beta player, was super excited about this. I've been pushing for this feature for quite a while.
And you heard the playtest was coming, he's like, I'm going to be there. Like, dropping everything.
Yeah,
I wanna be
AJ's
the
so
first
busy.
one.
We like never get to have him in playtest as much as we like. He was like, "Is it a classic conquest test?"
The
I'm
first
clearing my
classic
schedule.
conquest test I did very greedily schedule to make sure I could attend it. So I could be one of the first people to play this mode in over 10 years.
Yep.
And I did
So
record
fun.
that playtest. I lost, I think, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I don't think I did.
I think I recorded that playtest too.
So this map is crazy. So I don't know, a lot of things to talk about. First of all, we are considering this a part of Smite Adventures.
They're back, baby.
Adventures don't have to be a dungeon or a specific mode
Or a
a
Smite
specific
cart.
format or a racing game.
Or multiple
And
Smite carts.
Really what we like to think of is that adventures can be anything. Adventure is us taking a unique twist on playing Smite and doing something new. And really the adventure is Smite Night.
Yep.
Not just Classic Conquest.
Yep.
Classic Conquest is the feature map of Smite Night, but Smite Night is the adventure, and that is the key feature that we're here to talk about today.
That's right. So what is Smite Night, you might be asking yourself? Well, I've got the answer for you in this absolute novel of
are
patch
asking,
notes that
tell
we've
us.
got. Smite Night is a new one-day only game mode that opens up once a week. So the whole idea is that you want to get your friends together to play Smite on this special night, and you'll be earning bonus rewards and get to play new modes or interesting twists on current game modes. Smite Night will occur on Saturdays and last for 24 hours. And it will feature a different mode each week. So here's a little preview of what you can expect from Smite Night in the next few weeks. On May 21st, you'll be able to play Classic Conquest for the first time in a decade, basically. And you'll get some crest rewards for it. You'll get a loading screen and a Heavenly Light chest.
Those are good rewards, you know.
Yep.
You want to show up and play these modes to get those.
Yep.
Also, as you can see here, Classic Conquest is exciting, but we're bringing out some other stuff that people have never played and they're very excited for as well. The second Smite Night is going to be All Out Slash.
Yep.
That's going to be a match of the day rule set on the Slash game mode where you can pick duplicate gods.
Oh, cool.
Like the All Out Assault, which that is my favorite match of the day because you can build some really crazy comps and wombo combos.
Yep.
So it's going to be All Out Slash. We're then going to have Classic Conquest again, and then we're going to have a very exciting 5v5 pre-made parties only. Season 9 Conquest. You will not be able to queue this Smite Night without a full 5-person party. So we know that 5-person party ranked mode has been kind of something that people have suggested for a long time.
I remember it.
We do have problems with getting a sufficient population if we run it all the time. But if it's a one-night only event,
people know when
you
to
can go and queue with your 5-person party. And all Smite Nights have leaderboards.
Yep.
So if you really want to show off and show that you're the Classic Conquest champ or the 5v5 Conquest champ, if you want to run this, through your streams, through your conquest, through your community, to try to be the best of the best on Smite Night, there will be leaderboards. So that 5v5 conquest is essentially bringing back something that players have been asking for years. And you'll get some really cool free skins, free chests, and Smite Night unique. I believe the loading screen is that really great art with the gods playing games on the couch together.
Oh,
so
cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's the loading
cool.
screen.
Really good
one
one.
of the loading screens and stuff like that. So unique rewards on that day only for playing that mode, and really exciting modes.
Yeah, to give a little bit more clarity, again, Smite Night is going to be on Saturdays for 24 hours, but the queues are only open for that amount of time. Each Smite Night, a player will be given 2 quests to complete on that Smite Night. You just saw the rewards on that graphic there. These weekly Smite Night quests do not carry over and must be completed on Smite Night. So clear your Saturdays, Smite fans. Each monthly update, players will also have 2 Smite Night milestone quests that will last the duration of the release and patch. Players must click or press on Start within the limited tab in order to earn rewards and earn progress towards these Smite Night quests. So don't forget that. Have to click Start. Quests will not progress unless players click that Start button within the limited tab.
Which we're going to talk more about the limited tab as well.
Yep.
It's a new screen inside of the play menu.
Yep.
That will feature our limited time game modes and will show you what the Smite Night is as well as the rewards, and there will be the button there to start the quests.
Yeah,
which
don't
you'll
forget.
need to go do.
Don't forget.
Yeah, so you'll be able to earn 2 rewards each Smite Night as well as 2 rewards per month that you can unlock the progress towards on playing on any of the 4 Smite Nights.
Great. I mean, it's the fact that leaderboards are there as well. Like,
I
I
can't
think
wait
that's
to see
so
who's
cool.
going to be the Classic Conquest champs.
Is Pon busy this week?
I know.
That weekend? I think he might be.
He might be.
He might be busy that weekend.
I was like,
it's got to be
I
Pon.
need to find some babysitters and get the kids because I feel like I have a little bit of an advantage because the meta of Classic Conquest is also very different. And we've been practicing it a little bit. We are going to share some of those tips with you, though, in the future to give you some head start as well. But yeah, Smite Night leaderboards will be active and will show the top players. And once Smite Night is complete, that leaderboard will stay up for the week.
Yep.
So anyone can go in and be like, oh, I wonder who won last week. And you can see, oh, wow, Algro really did. He carried that 5v5 team conquest. That's awesome. But then when the new Smite Night starts, they'll be reset and the leaderboard will begin anew. So every Smite Night will have a new chance for you to show off you're the best in Smite. And with the different modes, you might have a specific advantage one week over the next.
Yep. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's talk a little bit more about Classic Conquest because, like we said, this is one of the things we're most excited about. It is crazy that this was the map in 2012. Like
10 years ago.
That is a
10 years.
That is a long time ago. And we're really excited for all the players who have joined us since season 1 or onwards that haven't gotten a chance to play on a map that looks like this at all. We did aim to preserve as much as possible of the rules and pacing as the original map. So
And art.
And art, yeah. So
yes,
it will
best
be,
part.
turn up the brightness on your monitor because this thing is dark. Like this map is dark and it feels so different to the way that current Conquest plays. The pacing is so different. The amount of gold and experience you get is so different.
Right.
And that we tried to keep it as close as possible while also making it feel good at the same time.
Right, and because we kept it close as possible, that might mean it has some issues with it, but that
Oh.
was the reason why it was redesigned in the first place, and that's part of the fun.
Yep.
It has a very unique experience to it and a very unique charm, and it is a really fun map to play.
Man, the first time we tried to pull a Gold Fury and it like chased us through the jungle
Oh,
because
that's
there was
so
no
confusing,
leash radius,
yeah.
I was like, what is happening, man?
There's
Like,
a lot of cool, crazy stuff.
So a couple of the key features you'll see on this map, the economy is a little different. One thing you'll notice is that the late game, especially,
Yes.
there's no scaling on gold features in this map, or
And you will notice it.
significantly less. So it's harder to get a lead, or it's harder to hit max rank. I went back and looked at the PAX launch tournament, which I believe like Pon and Zapman and some people you still know won. The match was over 60 minutes.
Yep.
And multiple players were not level 20.
yep.
So the curve
That's
is
very
very different
possible.
on this map, so prepare yourself for that. Another very exciting feature is that jungle buffs are not symmetrical.
No.
So if you're in a lane, you might have there's also new jungle buffs. You
Right.
might have a green buff, which is actually a health per HP 5 buff, and a blue buff, which is a mana regen buff. But your
Without
opponents
cooldown.
on the same lane will have a movement speed and a protection buff.
Yep.
So you have to kind of build your comp and plan your strategy against playing against someone with a different buff than you.
Full on side jungle, it's all there.
Another feature is that jungle buffs can be stacked on the same player.
Yes,
you
sir.
Can, as one player, you can hold as many jungle buffs as you want. Now,
Yep.
because of their durations and the movement across the map is a large map, it's hard to amass really more than like 3 or 4, but it is possible to just get all of the jungle buffs on the map and have all of them on you at once. So you can have red buff, 20% damage, movement speed buff, 20% movement speed, protection buff,
insane.
plus 30 base prots, magical
It's
and physical.
insane.
20 HP 5, 20 MP 5, and 10 cooldown reduction, like all on you at once. If you do,
And a fire giant buff.
and you get all of the belts on you, and you
It's
look
awesome.
like a running multicolored Jenga tower, like,
Yeah,
running around the map.
I did it with Pele one game where I literally had all 6 buffs and a fire
And
giant
fire
buff,
giant? Oh,
and
great.
I felt immortal, and I basically was, because dude, speed buff on this map is so insane. Like,
Right.
green buff's insane, yellow buff's insane. They're all nuts.
So the jungles are also, many jungle buffs are positioned outside the lanes, right? So
Yep.
there's
Yes.
more
Side jungle.
distance to travel to get to those. Also, the meta is very different, which I'm not going to
Very.
go through all of it now, but you may want to play different gods in different locations. Generally, you play as 2 duo lanes and a single mid lane.
Yeah, no
There's
jungler.
not necessarily a dedicated jungler on these maps. There's only buff camps, no experience camps. The fire giant is in an enclosed volcano with a roof that you can't see through.
Dude,
if you're
and it
global
knocks
hunting,
you up
and it
so
has
fast.
Different abilities.
Yep.
Yeah, it has a bigger knockup, and it
impossible to
floods the
avoid.
whole room with lava.
Yep.
So you can't avoid the damage you take.
It is awesome.
Yeah, so we're going to do some more classic Conquest stuff. We're going to do some, I think, a show match. Maybe I'm not supposed to announce yet, but that's going to be really exciting. We will potentially do some dev streams where we coach you guys a little bit more on how
Would
to
love
play
to.
the meta, because it's really wacky. You usually want to play assassin mid and then tank hunter and tank
Mage.
on the end lanes, and you might want to switch your comp based on which buffs you have available to you. So
Yep.
you might not know which left or right you're going until you spawn into the map. A lot of different stuff to do.
It's wild.
So, but also because we want to make Smite Night such a huge celebration, such a big time, this map's only going to be playable on Smite Night. So you're going to have to wait from launch day until that Saturday to play this map for the first time.
Yep.
Except for PTS, so I'm sure we'll get a lot of our content creators getting Conquest
Yeah, that's a good point.
footage on PTS. So please,
Yep.
if you're really excited about the map, play on PTS. However, after the first Smite Night, we are going to open this up for custom games only.
Nice.
Yes.
So this map will only be playable on Smite Night or in custom games.
Yep. So make sure you're queuing up on that Saturday whenever Smite Night begins in order to play
And
that classic Conquest
one of
map.
the very exciting reasons to play PTS.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like our PTS, this is going to be
a huge PTS.
huge PTS, like new season level PTS easily is what I'm expecting. So make sure you guys all have that downloaded. You can find information on how to get access to the PTS on the Smite Game website.
So excited about this map. I learned Smite on this map. I
Yep.
started playing on this map in closed beta, and it has never been touched by anyone. A lot of our console players they didn't have PC
Right.
closed beta, they never got the chance to play this map. So there's a lot of history, a lot of nostalgia, and a lot of fun in this map. We're really excited to bring it back.
Is the map balanced? No, I don't think so.
That's part of the
But
fun.
is it fun?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is. It is a lot of fun, and if you break it, we've got leaderboards to prove you did.
I'm very excited to see how the meta evolved
Me
from
too.
where
Right.
it left off 10 years ago.
Me too. Yep.
Is Pon tournament-winning meta still going to be the meta, or will?
Yeah,
we
I gotta
find
go
new
watch that
strategies?
VOD. I gotta go watch that VOD,
you
but I
go
can't
watch this
arachne
stuff?
pull
I don't
people through the
I don't even
walls.
think there's a VOD of it. There's just like a highlight reel.
Oh,
I had to,
really?
like, pause a trailer to see only one screen of the Minotaur kill, not Titans, by the way. The Minotaurs was
Of
the
course,
original
and it
boss.
will own you. By the way, it is.
Yeah.
It is so hard to end the game.
So yeah, really excited for this. I mean, I hope everyone else out there is too.
Yep, cannot wait, man. Smite Night, it's going to be absolutely awesome.
And we're
Make sure
also
you
going
guys
to
are all there
continue
for
Smite
that.
Nights through future updates.
Yep.
With potentially other, twists on maps or, different maps, new maps. I don't want to say anything
Modes, yep.
too spoilery about it, but it is going to be a multi-update thing. It's going to be running every Saturday for the foreseeable future. So, and, a new way to earn free skins and other free rewards.
It's going to be awesome. Cannot wait for Smite Night to get kicked off. And I mean, I've been waiting to play more Classic Conquest. Every time we play test, I'm like, can we just test that map again? It's so
I'm so
fun.
excited for it.
It's absolutely awesome. Okay, so that does it overall for a lot of our balance and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that was a good portion of this giant packet, but it's not all of it. We've got community news, we've got Slipknot stuff to go over, we got a battle pass to go over, and of course all the great skins here for 9.5. One of the big things that I do need to remind you about in that community news is that you need to go out and make sure that you're claiming your brand new Super Shredder Prime Gaming Robin skin. That is absolutely awesome. This is a great skin. It's a new skin. This is not the same old Shredder skin that you got before, and you can only get this through Prime Gaming. So make sure you grab that while you can, because it's not going to be around for much longer, because we've got a new Prime Gaming skin incoming that I'm not going to show you right now. I gotta hold a little bit back in this situation. So again, the new Super Shredder Prime Gaming skin for Robin as part of our crossover with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Make sure you grab that while you can. As well as some SPL news. Smite Masters is starting very, very soon. Starting what? May 19th. So not quite this week, but next week it'll be May 19th. It's a 2-week event, and it will be played on 9.5. The pros have been able to scrim on this patch, as we mentioned. They got a little bit of a head start on practicing in order to get ready for this event. So a big 2-week event for Smite Masters starting May 19th, which I cannot wait to watch. A little bit of merch news. For fans, by fans, hooked us up with this amazing new merch. I'm rocking it right now, the Charybdis and Scylla sort of situation. We got the wall deco thing back here as well. That is absolutely awesome. Brand new hats, new pins. Absolutely awesome stuff. For fans, by fans, some of the coolest Smite merch out there. Make sure you head on over to that. You can get your own at a link with Smite merch. I think it'll be in the chat or something like that. I don't know if I'm supposed to read that part or not, so I'm just not going to. Clearly, I'm very good at this still. And then that does it for our community news. Again, make sure you're tuning into Smite Masters on May 19th. You're picking up your new Super Shredder Robin skin through Prime Gaming, and you're heading on over to For Fans, By Fans in order to get the brand new Smite merch. During my long ramblings, we swapped out AJ because he got too excited about the Classic Conquest map. We've got Lermy joining us here instead. Lerm, thanks for coming after running through the new map for us and all that kind of stuff to talk about some quality of life changes as well as some battle pass. So let's start with the quality of life changes. Relics and glyph purchasing. We've heard it's not the way you want it. We've heard the community. Maybe we heard it once or twice. Now, we've changed how it works. You can just double-click on the relic that you want in the full relic menu. It's not going to pop up with the sub-menu. Same with if you want to buy Calamitous Rod of Tahuti. Your Rod of Tahuti without buying Calamitous Rod of Tahuti, you just double-click the Rod of Tahuti in your store, and it will purchase it. It feels really good. It feels really good.
If you still want to get to those glyphs or other relics, you can of course go to the sub-menus that exist within the item store, but you can also click on them in your inventory, and that will still bring you to the glyph screen, the relic trees, and all of that stuff. But every other place, it's going to be the way that you're expecting it to be.
Yeah, let us know if this is the way you want it. We think it is. Dude, playing it on dev with this change and then going to play a game on live and I double click and it opens the menu, I'm like, oh my god.
My muscle memory is all messed up, but this is going to be such an amazing change to really bring that back together.
Agreed. And also adjusted some volume levels for quality of life changes as well. So please do enjoy that. Okay, let's get into the Battle Pass situation here. Our next Battle Pass is a blast from Smite's past. A little bit of a different look here for the Battle Pass. So after buying in to the Battle Pass and unlocking the buy-in skin, which is Trickster Loki, as you progress the track, you will unlock 4 pick-your-own chests that will allow you to hand-pick any skin you want from any of the pre-Season 9 non-crossover Battle Passes. And those passes are as listed below. You don't have them below, but I have them here. Too Hot for You, Darkness Falls, New Olympia, Sweet Victory, Pirate Queens, Enchanted Chronicles, Lightbringers, Final Boss, Necropolis, Most Wanted, Heroes of the Wild, Cleanliness versus Godliness. You can pick any of those. There you go. In fact, we've got a little video to show it off exactly how it's going to look here for the Battle Pass.
How exciting, some more people to fool.
I think it's absolutely awesome that we're giving a chance to these players who haven't had a chance, who weren't playing at the time or weren't able to get these skins for whatever reason. Now they get to pick their own favorites from a lot of these, and I'm sure that there are those of you out there wondering, well, what happens if I have all of these skins, or maybe I got the ones I liked, I don't like these other ones. You can just simply choose to take gems instead. So it's a win-win for everyone, right? You get the skins that you don't have, and if you have all the ones you want, by playing in the Battle Pass, you'll just get more gems, which is a really great situation. And also, good, you know, we're turning back the clock a little bit with Classic Conquest, Matt. Turning back the clock a little bit with the Battle Pass as well, you know? Doing a little bit of both.
Yeah, and I'm really especially excited about that Trickster Loki skin. A lot of players have not had the chance to get that one, so at last, you know, if you participate in the Battle Pass, it is the first skin that you'll get on the buy-in, so that's just going to be right away. You'll be able to have this awesome Loki skin. Yeah,
Trickster Loki, definitely one of those cards, or one of those skins that you feel like everyone's always, you know, oh, I wish I could have gotten Trickster Loki. Like that one, I feel like comes up a good amount. Do we have a view of Trickster Loki in game? I think we might, but I'm kind of just going. Yeah, I'm sending it. There it is.
Look at him.
Just hope for it.
Just hope for it. And I know Jithens has got my back. He's a beast. So you know, I know production has me. It's going to be a lot of fun to see which skins are most popular. They get pulled out of these pick your own chests. I'm looking forward to that type of thing. But yeah, please get excited for the Blast from the Past Battle Pass. Okay, on to some new skins that you'll be able to check out. We're going to start with the costume chest. And this one,
it's fun.
I can see your expression right now, and I just want to say that's exactly how I feel right now, but in a great way.
Yeah, this skin is really something, you know? It's something that exists for us.
Yeah.
I think it's really good. This is like a really troll skin, which is up my alley.
It's perfect.
Reminds me of the hot dog stuff, you know?
It does, yeah, it's a little bit hot dog Odin-like. It's a little
way.
bit out there. I'm sure you guys were not expecting horsing around Chiron, because how could you have? It's in the costume chest. I don't know what our official story is with horsing around with Chiron, and I'm not going to say anything in danger of getting in trouble. But it's what do I say about this, man?
I just can't wait for him to like just be popping Centaurus, just hitting me away while looking like this. Like
it's so everything about it.
The animations are so good with the skin. Like the head flops around a little bit.
The voice pack is unbelievable.
Great job to the modeling team.
Yeah, this model is absolutely fantastic. Holy cow.
I think it comes with the VXG as well.
Horses.
Yeah, right. Holy horse. Right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Do we have a voice line to play in this? Sometimes we do.
Yeehaw! Where's the party at?
Look,
just wait until you get your hands on this.
He's trying to be the centaur of attention, all right? But
did you write this one?
No, I did not write this one. This is Tina.
This is a Tina.
what?
I was gonna say
all
this
over
is a
it.
Tina skin. Yep, absolutely, 100%. Okay, so that's in the costume chest, horsing around Chiron, coming at you with 9.5. We also have the Heavenly Light event, of course. We've got a couple of skins coming to you through that Heavenly Light event. The first one is going to be Dark Apprentice Apollo, which is a skin that looks really, really cool. Definitely a bit of a different look for Apollo, but one that, for a god who's been around since the very dawn of time, it was the god that I started playing on the closed beta conquest map. Okay. It was. Having a new look in season 9 is really cool.
Yeah, this guy's a bit of an edgelord. He's got a little backstory to him where You know, he was this goody two-shoes sorcerer's apprentice once upon a time, but he wanted a little more power, so he turned to the dark side, and now here he is with all of his evilness and glory. And you better bow down, because he will be flying on over to your lane and smacking you with a bit of dark magic if you're not careful.
You can tell he's evil because that's an evil harp.
I was going to say, that's it, you know.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
That's the tell. It's hard to say
thing.
otherwise. Yeah, it's just that harp. Let's take a listen real quick to him.
I am the master of the dark arts.
There you go. He's the master of the
to the
dark
point,
arts.
you know?
Yep. This man knows what he wants. Next up is Mystic Flare Pele. Again, I'm a Pele stan, as I've said like 30 times on this patch note show already somehow. And now she's coming at you with a more energized
Definitely
look
charging
here.
at you there,
Yeah, that's what you see right before you take your entire health bar and die. Except now I have 200 extra HP thanks to the TTK changes.
Yeah, you're welcome for that.
I really love this skin. We've tested with it a lot, and I think it looks really awesome.
Yeah, it has some great extra visual effects treatments as well. So you see her base model there, but when she ults, she actually has wings of fire coming out of her back. So it's just a really sick look for this new take on the Mystic skins.
Yeah, love the Mystic skins, of course. I think we have a voice line for her as well.
Cry for help. Fear not. The mystical maiden Pele is here.
Here she is, and you don't have to fear anymore. Thank you, Pele. Next up is Necro Alchemist Vulcan. Alchemy is not enough for him.
Whoa.
Nor messing with the dead.
What? Let's go.
Dude, I haven't seen this card art yet. That is absolutely nuts.
That is.
Imagine you're this guy in the front right here, and this skeleton thing on Vulcan's back is pointing at you. He's like, yeah, you. That'd be
that guy. It's like, what?
Yeah, this one in particular. Like, oh my God, not me, man, not me.
sick.
Yeah, this skin is unsettling in a very cool way.
Look at his
Oh my
hammer.
God, the
Skull
hammer
in
is
the front and stuff.
unbelievable.
See, people think it's like sometimes we come to this show like we've seen this before. Sometimes we have something. I haven't seen this. This
I
is
haven't seen it
amazing.
either.
I
Yeah.
want to play that.
That is
And I'm not just chilling.
absolutely awesome. Look at the boys. They're ready to do the YMCA up there. I feel like, you know, their hands are
I
kind
love
of.
the upper chest area, the material that's over there.
Yep.
His hair and his eyes is creepy as hell.
Yeah, there's a lot of extra effort that animation went through on those secondaries. I mean, Vulcan typically has that like rocket booster backpack, but no,
Right.
those are like actual like torsos on his back now. So
Yeah, who needs rockets when you
Cool
can
that.
cut a person in half and stick them on your back like that? That's like that's way better, right? Let's listen to the voice pack here. I'm sure it's very kind.
My abominations are at your command.
Like I said, seems like a really nice guy. And last but not least in the Heavenly Light event is going to be Aquatic Nightmare Ra. You know, I'm sensing a theme for a lot of these. Pele's the only one who's nice. She's got her work cut out for
what
her,
do you
man.
mean? You just said Vulcan was a nice guy.
Well, I was kind of being facetious there, Lermy. I don't know how to break it to you. Aquatic Nightmare Ra is truly a bit of a nightmare when you, like, this thing is absolute nightmare fuel with how it looks, but it's such a new and different look for Ra that is going to be awesome. I think we actually get to see this one in game, I hope, because it is.
Oh wow.
It is something.
Whoa. He's got like part crab, part squid, part like diver, like with that like helmet that looks like a mine. That's so sick.
Yeah, we do get to go in game here with Aquatic Nightmare Ra. I'm excited to see how he's moving around. You know, the whole.
Whoa.
It is creepy, man. Okay, why are crab legs creepy when they're like this? Like they don't.
Well,
they're kind of like spider legs.
That's not really like, you know, the normal way that crab legs look. They're kind of
Oh, it's an anchor.
Oh my goodness, that's like the
Dude,
pencil
that
from
is
before,
so
but
cool.
It's just so much creepier. He's dragging an anchor across you. Like surely that hurts a lot more than getting blasted in the face with a little sun. I mean,
I'm really pale, Lermy. A little bit of sun does a lot of harm to me personally.
oh, look at the mines. That's so sick. Oh, and they're in the air
and they
too.
float.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah, I have not seen this one in game at all. I've only seen the card art, and man, so awesome. The little
talk
red
about
and
that,
black
AJ.
for the ultimate. Oh,
Ladies on my account, no. It looked like I missed the roll.
wow, Lermy, nice raw forehead. That is good stuff. Aquatic Nightmare Ra, absolutely amazing skin
now
coming
that
at you with the Heavenly Light event here in the 9.5 update. Let's go to the bonus skins, because of course that's not the only skins we're going to have with the 9.5 update. Oh yeah, do you want to do a little voice pack work? Sorry about that. go ahead and give us the voice a little bit if you could.
You have done well. I am the terror of the deep.
That is awesome. That's
Definitely,
super stoked.
Gives that drowned sailor vibe, but like he is just gonna hunt you down if you take 1 foot into those waters.
Yeah, drowned sailor plus squid plus crab plus who knows what else. Definitely terrifying. Okay, for the 9.5 bonus skins, which will be live on May 31st, so a few weeks after the 9.5 actual patch goes live, as part of the Heavenly Light event, we'll have Glaive Tech Kernanos in that bonus patch. He's definitely not as spooky as the earlier Heavenly Light skins, but very, very cool. Kernanos, always one of those characters that I love to see how the changing of seasons ends up working with their skins. And yeah, I think that you can take a pretty good guess on what's going to happen whenever he's changing stances.
The
Robo Dog. Did you say pig?
Isn't it a pig? He turns them into boars.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, yeah,
Pigs
sure.
per skin.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, who knows what they are? It's a little robo guy. Okay, that is definitely more of a dog tail than a pig tail.
I mean, yes,
It's
but
not
how do you make
squiggly.
You're making a curl out of metal. I mean, that's kind of hard.
Well,
know,
do you see they could use he's got the blue stuff if he wanted to have
blue
a squiggly.
stuff.
That's why we're not modelers, right?
Yeah, exactly. Very, very true. Let's take a listen to the voice back here real quick.
Mechanized Kernanos, ready for battle.
With my dog. That's weird. You guys hear him say that?
Yeah, I'm sure I heard him say that.
And as well in the Heavenly Light event, we have Afro Future Olarun, which is just an awesome skin, man. Olarun has no right to have this many good skins, dude. Like,
he has absolute right. He's like the divine ruler.
Yeah, okay, I guess you're right. Like, but all of his skins are absolute gas. Like, every single one of them is just so cool. And Afro Future Olarun is just the next in a long line.
Styling, dude. Like,
Yeah,
I love all the patterns and the colors in this, like the teal, turquoisey,
Yeah.
main accent color. That's such a sick look on him.
I just like the theme difference as well, like this nobility into like mechanized, right? Because it's the mixing of those two kind of ideas.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Super cool in game. I can't wait to see the effects for this skin. I'm sure that's going to be absolutely awesome. His skin effects are always great. Super excited about Afro Future Olarun. Let's take a listen to the voice pack.
The kingdom will be fine without me. I gotta get in on this action and try out my new tech.
It will be fun to see your new tech Afro Future Olarun. I agree. And then in 9.5 bonus skins section, we also have the Sea Being chest, including a brand new fluorescent friend Ganesh. He intimidates me a little bit, but at the same time, he does look very nice. You know, he looks nicer than Vulcan at the very least, the Necro Alchemist Vulcan. That's
and it's not even close. But yeah, so we had the take on the scary sea being, and now we've got a little bit friendlier, more benevolent. I mean, Ganesh certainly isn't going to steal any of your kills, right? Not with that look.
No, certainly not. And definitely something a little bit new for him with these hands, his upper hands, they're just floating.
I love this one.
They're just hanging out.
I hadn't seen this one either, and just like I love just like the way the modelers approach this. The concept art is probably like what a fantastic job here.
Oh, and kind of throwback to the Ymir skin with the aquarium in the tummy. He's got the same kind of deal there.
Yep.
It's so sick looking.
Yeah, very colorful, very bright. No one's missing you when you're playing this skin. This is what you need on the classic Conquest beta map, so people can actually see you.
Yeah, you tell your teammates to look for the bright yellow elephant running down the lane.
Yeah, run to the traffic cone. That's where you'll be. You're a nice beacon for your whole team. Let's listen to the voice back here for fluorescent friend Ganesh.
Professor Trench from the Undersea Institute.
Oh.
He's a professor.
He is a professor.
Oh, okay.
Okay, all right. Apologies,
smart
Mr. Professor Ganesh. You're
Dr. Professor Ganesh.
Dr. Professor, sir. That's good work for him. Again, those two skins, Kernanos and Olarun, are in the Heavenly Light event for 9.5 bonus skins, and this fluorescent friend Ganesh, which is absolutely awesome, coming out in the Sea Being chest. All three of those skins will be live May 31st, so mark your calendars for that. We also have a new Prime Gaming skin. Remember when I teased you earlier about it? It was because I was getting a little excited, getting you primed up. For Happy Little Painter Jean-Qui. Happy Little Painter Jean-Qui.
Oh my god. I love
He looks so familiar, guys. Where have I seen someone like Happy Little Painter Jean-Qui before?
Are you sure that's not Sylvanas?
It
Pops off of
could be. It could be. This is, I mean, obviously super exciting to be in conjunction again with Bob Ross Incorporated. I mean, just this skin is absurd. Like, it's so awesome. I cannot believe that we were able to do this. Oh, he's got a little painting. I haven't seen that part.
Oh, that's so fun.
I saw the front. I didn't see the painting hanging in the back. That is absolutely awesome. Again, Bob Ross giveaway. We are planning a cool giveaway around this skin, so keep an eye on our social channels for more details as we get closer to its launch. The Happy Little Painter Jean-Qui will be launching June 2nd, so a little bit later than the other skins, but again, this is through Prime Gaming. We can take a listen. I think we do have one little voice line here for the skin.
This is a happy place. Little squirrels live here and play.
Just amazing. Wait until you see the effects on the skin as well. I mean, it's just so much fun. Again, June 2nd, so make sure you're keeping an eye on our social channels as we are planning a cool little giveaway. And AJ has returned. Welcome back, AJ. So did you see Lermy miss that raw snipe earlier?
That was me.
Did you see Lermy miss
I
that?
was playing on Lermy's controls, and she had like
AJ, that's account sharing.
two of the abilities on Instacast, and one of the other one on another letter, and I was like, what is going on here? But I managed to hit the Odins most of the time, so I showed off the anchor. That's what matters.
That is what matters. It was good work. All right, let's talk about the headliner, if you will, of our show, and that's the Smite Slipknot event. Just unbelievably excited to be partnering with Slipknot to have some Slipknot skins. We got a quick little teaser video to show you before we break down some of the details. That's right, the Slipknot Smite crossover is here. Just so excited, and what an amazing job like all the teams did on these skins in particular. I mean, from visual to audio, everything is amazing.
Yeah, these things are hard to pull off. You know, there's a lot of complications, a lot of things that go on behind the scenes, a lot of people working really hard. Music licensing deals even more complicated than
always difficult.
Shows and other IPs. It's really great, but you know, this is a legendary music group here that
one of the greatest of all time.
Many people know very well. We know for a fact that a lot of Smite players are a fan of this group here.
Yep.
Their visuals, their sound is just amazing. Slipknot does something really super unique. You know, no one else quite does it like that.
Yep.
I gotta also shout out to our audio team specifically.
100%.
I think, you know, even before we talk about Slipknot, audio just as game dev is extremely important to the experience. How many video game OSTs do you listen to when you're not playing games?
All the time.
How good do Dark Souls abilities feel because of those sounds, right?
Yep.
How amazing is a Smite game because you heard something over the back of your head and you juked to the left and that raw ability went right. Like, audio design is so important.
Yep.
As you both know as designers, you make a new ability, it can feel good. You know, the timing's there, the particles there, it can feel kind of okay.
Yep.
You get that audio in there, it goes up a huge amount. So huge shout out to our entire audio team who's been working with us for many years and, you know, working really hard on the game. Specific shout out to a dev named Kellen.
Yeah, AJ, I actually got to steal it from you. Unfortunately, speaking about how important sound is and how awesome it is, we're having a little bit of trouble with yours. That's ironic. That's,
wow. That's I was
that is a little bit unfortunate.
For a while, so maybe I knocked it.
But I do want to share a note from Kellen, the audio lead on Smite, who, of course, as AJ was saying, I don't know if you could hear him super well, but it was just so important how big this audio stuff was and how important it was for this crossover in particular. And Kellen wanted to share this note. He is, again, Smite's audio lead. He says, and I quote, "I really wish I could have been here today to share my excitement for this collaboration. As a fan of Slipknot for over 22 years, it was surreal to have the opportunity to work directly with Slipknot to bring them and their music into Smite. This was a passion project for us. This was a massive passion project for us, excuse me. I would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to Slipknot and their team, as well as the Smite devs who went all in on this project and trusted me to give my input. This was a career highlight, and I'm so excited for everyone to jam some Slipknot in Smite. And that is from Kellen, again, the Smite audio lead. Unfortunately, he was feeling a little under the weather, so couldn't be here for this update show. But man, I mean, to be a fan of a group like Slipknot for 22 years and now have that type of opportunity.
I've been listening to them since the first album too, honestly.
Yeah.
And, you know, they've come and gone from my listening tastes, but I've been, you know, we were talking about this yesterday, how much Slipknot we've been listening to again.
It's insane.
To get ready for this, and it's all so good.
Yeah.
And Kellen is our audio lead on the team all the time, but he also served as more of a creative director over the entire Slipknot project, focusing on the audio, the abilities, the music, as well as making sure we got the brand's overall tone and theme right, making sure the characters looked up to the detail and quality that we want to show off, and make sure that Slipknot is proud of their characters in our game.
Yeah, I mean, as AJ said, like when I knew this crossover was happening, I got an opportunity to write some voice packs for the Raijin skins. I was like, yeah, Slipknot's like, they're cool, I like them, but I wanted to really dive in order to get a better understanding. And now, like, I just haven't been listening to anything else. There's so much, like, I mean, 20 plus years of great music to really dive into. So overall, just want to give some overall details here. Slipknot is always a top band that comes back whenever we survey Smite players about their interests, and it's just an unbelievable dream come true to have incorporate a legendary group such as Slipknot into the Battleground of Smite. This is an event that has 9 skins and 2 cosmetic packs that are available for direct purchase or via a roll of the brand new Slipknot chest. Worth noting that this chest will be discounted for 2 weeks.
And that's in addition to the music pack.
Yes,
so
in addition to
the event consists of the 9 skins and the 2 cosmetic packs, but you participate in the event to unlock the music theme, which plays Slipknot music while you play Smite, which we'll talk a little bit more about, but obviously that's a super highly required asset for this crossover.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing the last few weeks with an extra app on the side. Now I don't have to even have it open. You know, I can just have it all through Smite. On the note of voice actors, we did have the pleasure of working with Alessandro Venturella and Michael Pfaff to have them record their own voice packs. We did work with Slipknot in order to approve the sound-alikes for the rest. Slipknot is currently and has been throughout this whole process on tour, so the band was somewhat limited with what they could provide with their busy schedule. So obviously we would have loved to have everyone be able to voice their own skins, but with how busy the group is, we were really excited to be able to grab Alessandro and Michael in order to have them record their own voice packs.
And many Hirez devs actually went to Knotfest Atlanta not that long ago.
Yeah.
And I heard it was amazing.
Oh, I wish I could have gone.
Me too.
That would really been awesome. And then for some specifics, in typical Slipknot fashion, Clown went above and beyond by recording a library of sounds that we incorporated into each skin. So AJ, you were telling me about this right before the show.
Yeah, so not only do we have the music of Slipknot, we actually have sound design of other sound effects that are going to go into those characters that were also designed by Clown himself from the band. So really awesome, really glad that Kellen could work so closely with the team there to bring these characters to life and make sure their abilities just sound awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a really cool new way to do something, a crossover like this, to have the event as part of it, and to have, with a group as large as Slipknot is, to be able to incorporate all these different members.
Right.
So the skins are for 3 different gods, and each god has 3 different variations of the skin for each of the members. So let's start off with Chalk. Chalk will have 3 skins, just like everyone else, like I just said. Mick Thompson as Chalk, Jim Root as Chalk, and Alessandro Venturella as Chalk. And I think we have a look at some of these card arts.
First of all, this piece of art is amazing.
Absolutely awesome.
I love this one.
Yeah.
I hope Slipknot fans all over can enjoy this, even if they have no intention of playing Smite, whatever, that's okay. I hope they enjoy this specific piece because it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's definitely a huge challenge to incorporate 9 different characters into one single piece of art that can also be broken down into card arts and icons and all those other beautiful assets that will be going into the game for Slipknot. So huge props to the team for making such an amazing piece of art.
It's absolutely great. And we do have actually a view of some of these skins in game. So let's jump straight to that actually here for the Slipknot and Smite crossover. Again, Mick Thompson, I think, should be this first one here, as well as Jim Root and Alessandro Venturella for the Chalk skins. And it's just like the weight of Chalk and like how intense his animations are and the ultimate and all that kind of stuff, I think is such a great combination.
Right, so these skins are also themed to the musical discipline of the various band members. So Jim Root and Mick Thompson are guitarists, and Alessandro is the bass. And actually, the audio design is also unique for the Alessandro skin. Sounds more like bass when he uses his abilities, whereas the other two sound more specifically like Jim and Mick's guitars.
That's really
You're also going to see, their iconic masks are key differences between every unique skin, and there's a lot of changes to the overall outfit and the modeling of each skin. Even though it's 3 Chalk skins, they all have a very different look to them, and they all stay true to those Slipknot aesthetics and music.
Absolutely. Do we have a voice? I believe we should have voice lines for some of these as well, but if not, we can just keep on rolling as we head to Jim Root here on this. I mean, having the detail on the 2 guitarists with their guitars, having the sound effects for them, and then Alessandro's bass, I think is really just kicking it up to the next notch and feeling really, really cool.
Yeah, I just love the design in general. Like, you'll also see some small details between their outfits being different, like aside from their very iconic masks. They've got a couple of different changes between, the specific getups, their specific weapons of choice, or musical instruments of choice, you might say as well. So just keep an eye out for those small details because they look incredible.
Yeah, Jim's jacket here is very different than the Mick one we just saw before.
Yep. I think we do have a voice line here for Jim Root's skin, so let's take a listen.
Make some noise.
We're going to be making
a lot of noise.
A ton of
Absolutely. And then, of course, we have Alessandro Venturella, a variation of the Chalk skin. Again, much more bassy here for this one, as he is a bass player as opposed to Jim and Mick. I believe we should have a voice line for Alessandro as well.
My heart is just too dark to care.
Absolutely love it. Again, Alessandro actually able to voice his own skin, which I'm sure was very exciting for him as well. Let's head on over then to the next batch of skins, if you will, here. I believe Raijin is up next, and then we should be leading with Michael Pfaff on the Raijin skin. And then very much like the differences in the Chalk skins, there will be differences here as well, not just the masks, but in the outfits and the types of drums that they play. Both Clown and Michael Pfaff's drums are going to sound more like their percussion instruments, where Jay Weinberg's drum sounds more like a traditional drum set. So again, that attention to detail.
And to me, Slipknot is, they have a lot of iconic sounds, but those drums are just legendary.
Yep.
And they have always been well known for putting on an amazing show and putting those drums really, front and center so you can see and feel them. And Raijin is a perfect character for this because he's got these drums that are big and different and show off a lot of this aesthetic.
Yep.
You also see there the Raiju reskinned to a little maggot buddy who is that's a motif across Slipknot music and their branding and their fans referring to themselves affectionately as the maggots.
Absolutely love it. Super cool. Let's listen to the voice line here for Michael Pfaff.
The only thing scarier than a man with nothing to lose is a god with nothing to lose.
Super cool that Michael was able to record his own voice lines.
Yeah, very grateful
as well.
for him to take the time for that.
Yep, absolutely awesome. Next up is Jay Weinberg as Raijin, and again, you're going to see some subtle differences there, and Jay's drums will sound a little bit different, but I mean, just having the iconic mask for each of these members, absolutely perfect. Let's take a listen to Jay's voice pack.
We are not your kind of gods.
Obviously, a lot of these voice lines heavily inspired by the music. And the
We Are
lyrics
Not Your
and all that
Kind,
kind of stuff.
the album title.
Yeah.
Nice note there, Agri.
Thank you.
You think I wouldn't notice?
I did do the Raijin skins, is all I'm saying.
You think I don't listen?
And then Clown Raijin, of course, last but not least.
And additional shout outs to Clown, who was the creative consultant from Slipknot, who we did a lot of our direct conversations with. He was a really big help in guiding us throughout the process, approving our direction, giving us notes on things, and just an all-around amazing individual to work with. The group as a whole is so iconic, and they work together so well with all of their visuals and sounds, and the whole production of their shows and the experience that Slipknot brings. And we really wanted to make sure we got that right. So it was very good to have a guide along the way.
Clown, absolutely one of the GOATs, and also helping us out along the way, which is awesome. Let's take a listen to his voice pack.
Let me see your hands in the air.
Super excited to get everyone a chance to take on Raijin as well as Poseidon. A little bit more of the vocal elements here with the iconic Corey Taylor and Craig Jones and Sid Wilson. I mean, just an unbelievable group across the board, of course. And we're going to start with Sid Wilson, Poseidon, for these Poseidon skins. You saw the Raiju transformed into the maggot. Well, you'll see it here in these skins as well.
We got the Kraken too.
Yep, it's absolutely there in the Kraken. Let's take a listen to Sid Wilson's voice pack.
Does my mask scare you? Does it make you squirm?
It kind of does, yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like that was intended.
A little bit.
And yeah, the Slipknot music, you know, they have these very unique elements to their music as well. So you see here we have like the turntables and the samples,
yep,
which I feel like is often kind of underrated when people who don't listen to them a lot.
Right.
They like every band member has this really unique sound that all comes together really well. And those extra sounds provided by are these different and unique sounds that are provided by the samples and the turntable are super important to Slipknot's iconic sound.
100%. I mean, Sid Wilson's abilities will have that turntable element, as you mentioned, and the next one up, Craig Jones, will have some of those samples as well. So very sticking to what the expertise that all these group members have.
This one looks so cool, too.
Yeah, just one of those iconic mask setups for sure. Let's take a listen to Craig Jones. That is what Craig Jones is sounding like.
Exactly.
His is unique. So Craig typically not as vocal as the other ones, literally. You know, mostly just grunts and that kind of stuff. So I think his whole voice pack is nothing but grunts. And
if that's what he wanted, then so it shall be.
Yep, definitely staying true to Craig there. And then Corey Taylor, of course, is Poseidon. His abilities will have crowd and vocal elements, whereas, as we mentioned, Sid's will have turntable elements, and Craig has the samples. Corey Taylor, the iconic Corey Taylor with that abilities having crowd and vocal element sounds alongside it. Let's take a listen to his voice back.
You maggots ready for this?
We are ready.
We sure are.
Absolutely, we definitely are.
So those are all 9 Slipknot skins. Again, so excited to have them. They all will also have headbanging VXG with music, of course.
Special emotes, right.
Which rotates between 3 full-length versions of Slipknot songs.
You can play the full-length song while emoting around the Battleground.
Oh
If anyone interrupts me in the middle of duality, we're gonna have problems.
Here we go. This is the one we've been waiting for. This is it.
Yeah, we need a mode where you could have 9 gods on the same team, just so we can make them all do this.
On all-out modes, you can pick all duplicates.
That's true. We could do it that way. There you go. We've already found our solution. Good work, AJ. So yeah, 3 full-length versions of Slipknot songs with these VXGs. So it's Duality, Psychosocial, and Devil and I. Very hard to pick songs that wouldn't be absolutely amazing, but
right. It was really. I remember the Slack chat of us trying to discuss like which songs we wanted, and it was so hard to narrow them down. But they're all amazing, and these 3 are extremely iconic from different albums as well. So if you're a fan of Slipknot over the years, you'll get to hear those different hits. And these are also the songs that are used in the music theme, as well as the lobby sound effects when you just go to look at the event. You'll be able to hear, you will hear full-length versions of Duality, Psychosocial, or Devil and I rotate through while you are in the Smite client and in the Smite game, which is just unbelievable to me.
Yeah, in my 5-minute rank queues, I will be idling on this screen for a little bit. I mean, these songs are just bangers. Absolutely amazing.
They're great. Let's go in-game real quick to see a little bit more here, because there are some extra profile cosmetics, of course. You've got a jump stamp coming from it and a recall skin.
Which I previewed a little the recall earlier when I was playing Raw.
Oh, true.
It was already equipped.
That was nice.
It
nice
looks
little teaser.
sick.
Yeah, I mean, everything is just awesome. We can run through the chalk, the Jim Root, Mick Thompson, or Alessandro Venturella effects here for the chalk skin, but you get a lot of good stuff coming from all of these. I didn't even know that we had them ready to go in game, so I would have gotten here earlier. I apologize, everybody.
Oh my gosh, that spin's insane. It's got the flames on the guitar itself. That is so sick.
Yeah.
And I love the Slipknot symbolism and all the abilities. Looks really cool. And it fits Smite so well.
Yep, it really does. It definitely fits in with the general motifs, but bringing that extra spin to it. And then there's the ultimate, which
Oh,
just
man.
looks absolutely awesome.
And it sounds awesome too.
They have such a unique artistic style to everything they do, even outside their music, that
Right.
I think is really a video game developers and players really appreciate that attention to detail and consistency in your symbolism and your tone, and just staying true to yourself and your fans. And it looks great here.
Yeah, the like stage breaking apart on this ultimate is so cool. Chalk Ult is just one of my favorite ults in the game, but these skins definitely take it to the next level. No doubt about that. And I already mentioned that you get the VXG with the headbanging. Can we?
Oh yeah. Well, we're getting the
Yeah, we get the front end here. This is Alessandro's skin. I didn't notice the stuff on the neck of the base there for the skin. You get some little markings down the neck. That's very cool.
If Kellen was here, he would tell us the musical significance of that.
I'm sure.
I'm sorry
he'd
that
have it.
we don't have that degree of expertise. But here's the emote, the special emote that brings the stage and the animation and the song.
Just awesome. Can't wait to be rocking out with all my Slipknot boys on my team. Pick Slipknot skins if you're on my team next week, because I want to be rocking out with everybody.
Poseidon's going to be really good next update.
That's true. I think that's going to be a pick we see a lot of. You hear the music there as well.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that is going to be so awesome just having.
I can't wait.
I'm going to get so annoyed though when I get interrupted. I don't want to get hit. I don't want to cast any abilities. I just want to sit there
Is there
and listen
enough
to my
time
tunes.
if you start right when the game starts to get through a full song before the minions
No
spawn?
way.
Before you got to fight something?
No way.
It's a little too. Okay, we might have to make that change.
Yeah, we're gonna build in some extra time for this event only, just so we can actually have enough time to listen to all the skins songs. Absolutely great. Are we going next to Poseidon skin, or?
Oh yeah, he looks like he's got some commands queued up.
Now
There we go. He's got it.
Yep.
Let's go, Clumsy. You can do it. Yeah.
Nice.
There we go.
Putting in those dev commands on the fly is harder than it looks.
I swear, whenever like Clumsy or Lermy is like watching me do it, it takes me twice as long. I'm like, why am I messing up so much? Clown Raijin. These effects are just
Every basic
flawless.
attack has the symbol.
Yep.
Oh, and the passive lights up the drums as well. That's so cool.
That is really sick. And again, all of the different Raijin skins can have some different sound effects. There's the maggot as Raiju as the maggot jumping from one to the other. That icon.
Nice.
Looking awesome. So yeah, Clown and Michael Pfaff's drum sounds are tuned to sound like their percussion instruments, but Jay Weinberg's drums are going to sound more like a traditional drum set. So that's a really cool little attention to detail that you got to play a couple Raijin games.
Oh, that's sick. Oh, the different colors too. Oh, bye, Odin. We'll see you later, bud.
Oh no.
Save him.
He's gonna stop
we
him.
got him.
Nice save. Nice save, Clumsy. He's good at this game.
That's so sick, dude. I cannot wait to be playing Raijin in mid.
Just look. I feel like I've just said it a million times, but it's really true. These Slipknot skins just all look so perfect for the branding and what they're going to be bringing. And like you said, AJ, it just fits really well, I think.
It's nothing like we've ever done before. Working with a musical group. We're both headbanging.
Yeah.
Working with a musical group was a really great experience, and music has such reach into all different types of creative media. Music is super important in movies and games and TV. So it's an art form that is ancient and still extremely moving and impactful, and it's just awesome to have that represented in Smite.
Here, of course, is the Corey Taylor Poseidon skin. As we went over with the Poseidon skins, depending on which one you choose, you'll have some different sound effects alongside your abilities. With Corey's, it's going to have the crowd and vocal elements. With Sid Wilson, it'll have the turntable, and Craig Jones will have those samples that all these members are so known for.
I can't wait to hear the crowd cheer as I miss a Kraken.
Yeah.
Or hit a Kraken. I'm sorry, that's not.
It's just like being on the world stage. You miss your Kraken, and some people.
Poseidon is one of those gods that, even though I've practiced for quite a while, I still don't feel like I ever get that good with him. And I do consider myself a good mage player, but I struggle a little bit with Poseidon. I don't know. It's just me.
Yeah.
It's not him. Poseidon is a great god.
Dude, the oil barrel. So.
That is a
cool
beer barrel. I
believe.
A
beer barrel. Oh,
at a specific request, working with the band to make sure we showed off some side of them, just as humans too, right? They're just they're hardworking humans that make awesome music, but then they kick back and chill after hours too, and they have a good time, both when they're on work and off work.
Yeah, that is really great. I mean, these guys are absolute rock legends, but also just dudes who have worked hard to get there. So
yeah, and they really have, for so many years. And there was a recent post that was getting popular again, showing them initial performance on like late night Conan.
I watched
way
that,
back
yeah.
in the day, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And like people were all being really happy to see such a unique music being featured on something like that.
Right, a late night show. That was a big deal.
Yeah, it was a big deal, and just seeing how far they've come and how they've evolved their live shows to be, such an amazing experience. It really, that's the only way you can describe it. It's a whole experience being a Slipknot fan and listening to their music. So, again, super stoked to have them in the game. Very happy we were able to work with them, and overall, big shout out to the entire Smite dev team and biz dev team who worked on all of the agreements and details and all of the artistic and game developer details. It really was an awesome passion project.
I was listening to the song on the drive in. I was getting.
I was listening to "We're Not Your Kind" album on the way in.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been through all of them so much this week, and I'm gonna go through them all again, no doubt.
And you can do some of them in game. You don't even have to leave your game in order to do it. Again, super excited. Again, this is an event, not a battle pass, so a little bit different here for this crossover. And if you do obtain 3 Slipknot event items, you get the Slipknot music pack. So the music pack,
which you're definitely gonna want to get.
You need to get it, man. I mean, it's just unbelievable. The music is the whole point, right? That's why we're all here for Slipknot is for that music. So it will feature variations for each music event, which is a first for Smite, and there are 3 different pieces of music for the intro, player kill, and things like that.
Yeah, so a usual music theme has like the same intro every time.
Right.
The Slipknot music theme has multiple various intros, sampled from the different songs and stuff like that. So that same is true for kills and structure kills and stuff like that. So it really is like a big music theme.
Big music theme, big patch as well.
Huge patch.
I haven't done this in so long, and you guys give me this thing? Is that the joke, AJ? You wait until I'm out of practice until I'm ready to do this?
I didn't expect this to be one of the biggest Smite updates of all time. We were just working on a bunch of stuff, and people wanted some stuff sooner, and some other stuff had to happen now, and it all just came together into an absolutely record-setting Smite update.
We can't wait for you to get your hands on it. And again, it goes live much sooner than we used to. We're on this new patch schedule, so it'll be live on Tuesday. But before that, you can get in on PTS this weekend. So make sure you're staying tuned to all of our social channels and the website for information on how to download PTS and how to play on PTS. Can't wait to hear your feedback. We do know that with a change this big, it's gonna have some interesting changes that need to be made. So that feedback is gonna be very, very valuable to us. So please feel free. We're super excited to get your hands on this patch, as well as the Slipknot event and Heavenly Light and all the good stuff. So thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you check out all of our social channels and stay tuned for PTS info this weekend. But for now, Peach it.
Okay, Mr. Davidson. You always wear a suit to the dentist?
Of course, man. This shit is serious. We're talking about my teeth here, my choppers, my pearly whites.
You nervous?
I'm not nervous. Are you nervous?
I'm not nervous.
Do I look nervous?
You got this, man.
Yeah, I got this. I'm nervous. Come on.
unfortunately, but I'm back in the driver's seat. I'm hosting and game deving and making jokes that you guys don't like the entire time, basically. But of course, it's not just me here for the 9.5 Slipknot update show. We've got Clumsy and AJ that we'll bring in just a moment. But guys, this is we kind of messed around and had have a sneaky big patch all of a sudden. You know?
We do. Really big.
Like, it's not mid-season. It's not a new season. We're just going to change the whole game in one patch like that, huh?
Yeah. Remember when we were on patch notes last time? We were like, this thing is massive. Well, guess what? We're here again with another massive docket.
That's true.
Maybe even bigger than last time. That's right. We got a whole bunch of awesome stuff, including the new Slipknot event, the new Battlepass, community news, balance, of course. And let's start there because the balance is hefty. Because we are adjusting literally every single god in Smite, all at once. We're calling it the TTK update, the time to kill update. So the overall, to pull back the curtain a little bit, we've heard the complaints and the discussion about the amount of damage in Smite. In the last few updates, we've been trying to address that, but clearly that has not hit the mark as we've hoped it would. So we've been working on this extra scenario kind of in the background for a little bit, and it's time to pull it out. We basically want to address dying in the early game from too much damage from all different sources, but also how it scales into the late game and what each role's responsibility is in the late game and what they can do and all that kind of stuff. And this has been in the works for a while. Got to give a quick shout out to our pros, Olympians, and Smite creators who gave their feedback on this early pitch, because there's been a lot of iteration on it already.
And it has been out for a while. We didn't just get this idea, even though you might have heard this similar notes from some other places around the MOBA scene.
The gaming-verse, yeah. I mean, that's a good thing. It means that, while there might be similar issues, we're all kind of tackling them in a way that makes sense for our games.
And we previewed this to a group of influencers as well as the Olympians and the pros weeks ago. We got a lot of positive feedback on it, so we moved it into the fast lane to make sure we got it done. We did mention in the 9.4 update that we had some bigger changes. Really, this whole plan, the nerfing, the affecting of the whole game was going to be a process. We knew it wasn't going to happen over one update.
Right.
9.4 was essentially testing the waters, looking at the things that were most clearly overtuned, applying a lot of nerfs, and monitoring the results. We did see some results from that patch, but they felt a little small, right?
Yep.
People wanted to feel more. So we have this next plan in place in 9.5 that we're going to be revealing today, which you're going to feel a lot more. And then, of course, very importantly, 9.5 bonus and 9.6 are going to be fine-tuning, because this is a very big change we're about to reveal today. It's obviously going to have a lot of big shifts all over the game in all different game modes. It's going to require some fine-tuning in future updates, and that's going to be a #1 priority for us on future updates.
Yeah, 100%. This is going to take some iteration because it's a bit of a spicy one. So let's get to it. We've been talking about what it is, but we haven't been able to had a chance to tell you what it is quite yet. Every single god in Smite, including your favorite god and your least favorite god, is having their base HP increased by 40%. Their base HP per level increased by 5%. Their physical protection increased by 40%. Base physical protection increased by 40%. And increased physical protection per level at base by 8%. Magical protection at base increased by 28% and 28% magical protection per level. So everyone, and I mean everyone, is tankier by a good amount.
Very true.
And you can feel it, for sure.
So our #1 goal with these updates was to make sure that this would be a change that all players would feel immediately. We wanted to make sure this is going to make an impact on all game modes, not just Conquest.
Yep.
We wanted to put an especially heavy balance towards the early game, because we know that that is the most volatile part of the game. If you immediately start losing, you take an early death, that's very painful. So most of these buffs are applied to the early game. We did apply these by percentage, which has a couple of effects. One is it is going to actually give tanky gods a larger increase than squishy gods.
Yep.
But we wanted to preserve the differences between our classes. If we had added a flat number of HP to everyone, that would have merged the classes a little bit closer together. So we wanted to make sure the tanky gods still felt like the tankiest gods in the game, and vice versa. We also shifted the numbers here a little bit with magical protections, because those are so heavily front-loaded already.
Yep.
All gods in the game have a huge amount of magical protections at start and then gain a very small amount. So actually the way the numbers worked out, the 28 plus 28 is equivalent to 40 plus 8, We just shifted that so that it's not as heavily front-loaded at level 1. So that is a little bit of a shift. But there's a very long write-up by me in the patch notes that explains a lot of the process here, a lot of the thinking, why we did the numbers in this way. It's something that Clumsy has been running tests on with the dev team and the playtest team. We've had the pro players actually scrimming on it since Friday, which is very exciting. We'll talk a little bit more about that later.
Feedback there.
So a lot of information to be learned here, but what we're going to see is it's going to be much harder to lose the game in the first few minutes.
Yeah, it's going to be really important. I mean, we saw a lot of feedback based on the last one. We talked about having this kind of a two-step process, but even further on with the implications, of course. And you know, one of the things that we did last time was hitting a lot of the late game power items. We wanted to gather feedback. We wanted to see kind of the severity of what we'd be needing in this next step. So right now, the time to kill early game, the first few levels, is going to be, it's going to be pretty tough to kind of get ganks in whatever level, whatever lane it might be, and you probably won't be dying as you might do for the first set of abilities. But that's the goal. The goal is for the first set of abilities, the first kind of ganks that you receive, to probably not take you right out of the game.
Yeah, exactly, and it's all about the overall pacing of the game. I'm sure everyone hears every god gets tankier and thinks like, oh my god, it's tank meta instantly. But the fact that the backliners are also getting proportionally tanky in response has really changed the entire dynamic of our playtests. I mean, the way that you can interact with a warrior who's built full damage, they don't threaten you as nearly as much anymore, and it lets you play a lot more aggressively as a backliner.
And also one of the last things is, this route, when we talked about it, for all the different ways we could accomplish the same thing, was kind of the one that was the most feasible, the one that hit everyone kind of in the same way, in the most fair way, right? Because another fan favorite approach is to kind of hit every single god in the game with damage nerfs across the board. And that, while we considered it, it wasn't off the table per se. It was something that was probably a little bit more open to subjectivity.
It's inconsistent.
It's inconsistent. We can't hit everyone the same way. We probably shouldn't be able to hit every single god the same way. They don't always require the exact same damage nerf. Some gods have base abilities or scalings that are already extremely low. So if you hit that the same ratio as everyone else, then they just go to 0 damage for some components of an ability. It just didn't quite make sense. This way, we accomplished the same thing, but kind of with the reverse. Instead of reducing everyone's damage, we're increasing their effective HP.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be huge. You guys will absolutely feel it. This is, in my opinion, the most different Smite has felt since Boots got removed. Like, it is that level. That. I think it's bigger than that,
it's
too.
Bigger than that. It's the biggest change potentially to Smite balance in all of Smite history.
Yeah. Mess around in a 9.5 patch, just make the biggest change to Smite's history. That's just kind of what we're doing these days.
Yeah, it's very exciting. It's something that we know the player base wants and is excited for. So, we can't wait for people to try it out and let us know how it feels. So let's give them a little bit of an idea about what type of magnitudes of numbers we're looking at.
Yeah, great point. So at level 1, for some context, the minimum HP increase that you can have is 145. So the squishiest gods in the game will get 145 extra HP. The tankiest gods in the game will have an extra 210 HP. Well, 209, but I'm rounding up a little bit.
No rounding.
Okay, no rounding. At level 20, the minimum buff, he's my boss now, so I have to respond quickly. At level 20, the minimum buff for the squishiest gods in the game, they'll have 202 extra HP, whereas the tankiest gods in the game, Guardians and things like that, will have 304 HP after this change. Physical protections, level 1, minimum 3.5 or 4 physical protections, or up to 9.5 physical protections. And then at level 20, you can have up to 7.5 more, or 7.4, sorry, no rounding, physical protections, or 14.5 physical protections. And magical protections, all gods have the same. That's a little nugget of truth for you there, that all magical protections are the same for all gods. Though you will have 8.65 more magical protections at level 1 and 13.44 magical protections at level 20. So the big one is that you're going to feel, I think, is that HP, but also minions won't be dealing quite as much damage to you. There's going to be a lot of different fall-offs from this.
There's a whole bunch of other stuff that's going to be shaking up the game too, not just this,
This update is really huge. To expand a little bit more on those numbers, we really wanted to tune this around making sure you can survive another direct hit from an ability, right? We have various abilities in Smite. They can do roughly, we think, 100 damage is a high damaging ability at level 1. When you account for some early starting power as well as some item procs and stuff like that, you get a little bit more. So that 145 health for the squishy gods felt really important to us because that's where you can make sure you can take another direct hit. If that jungler blinks on you in mid lane right away, you can take another direct whole ability to the face and not die. Now, depending on your skill level, this might seem like it's impossible to die at level 1 now, or it might seem like it's not enough. We've seen a lot of different feedback about that, so we're excited to see how it actually plays out with the whole player base. But all of these numbers were really focused on the level 1 and 2 and 3 experience and making sure that one small positional mistake wouldn't immediately get you killed. So you can take that extra ability, the extra protections also help that. We wanted to do health and protections to make sure that we kept the game relatively in balance proportionally from where it is now. Like if we just did health, then potentially other things that do % health damage or % healing would have been more impactful, but doing health and protections all together and all gods together at the percentage, again, we were really focusing on consistency. So a lot of those things all very closely connected. Ironically enough, it has created some really interesting scenarios where gods you think might be better are actually not that much better. Gods you think might be worse are way better. It's a lot of big shifts, but that's also what our pros really wanted. And from what we can tell from our players, that's also what people really wanted. Change the game up, make a lot of new gods better, and a lot of gods might be better, not so good. This really does that.
Yep, I don't think, like we said, the game has felt more different than it ever has, while still maintaining a lot of the same fun aspects. It feels like I have a million new things to try, and that's very exciting. So I'm excited for you guys to get a hands on it as well. And that's not all that we're doing, of course. We've got balance that we're going to go into a little bit more, but we also have a brand new conquest refresh here coming on in the map that we're going to be able to go into. The Knights Keep Conquest map is going to be what we're doing here in 9.5. We've got new map decorations, a new obelisk system, and a new siege engine. That's right, all you siege mains. Siege? You only got to get one more person, and then you can queue up for conquest, and you get some of that siege feeling. Or slash players, you know, you can kind of do it as is. Yeah, the Knights Keep Conquest map, one of the most stunning map geometries I think that we've had in the duo lane in particular. I mean, this area and the new area in duo, absolutely awesome.
It's really cool. There's a big new castle art asset added to the outside of the duo lane that would have been that vista or cliff. Now you'll see a medieval style, Arthurian style castle there. Hint, hint. What? The main focus of this is a really big conquest update. Let's just say season 9 was something we experimented with a lot of different mechanics, a lot of different balance changes, and we got a lot of feedback over the last coming months. We've already done a lot to tone down the snowball, but we are going to continue to do that more in this update. We are keeping the obelisk mechanic, but heavily reworking it at all stages for how you collect offerings, how you pick up offerings, what the rewards are, is all being changed. But that system is remaining in the map, but with a very different twist to it, a very different reward, and it's tuned for more clarity and for more clear and direct impact.
Yeah, I think that once we get a chance to go